was last week, right? At the end of season 2.
Intro. Hello. Yes, this is an intro. So what did you? Well, first off, the first episode we're watching is Disengage, and everyone queue up to 143, which is where after the recap where it says 2 weeks ago. So we're starting on the 2 weeks ago. Okay, so what happened last week? What happened last week was
Okay.
Riker and Picard started hanging out, and they went to find Beverly, and Beverly's partially dead, and they found Jack. There you go. That's it.
Yep. Well, from this episode last week, yeah. You also finished season 2, right? Last week.
Yes, season 2 is done.
Yep.
We're up to 89 noted TNG references so far. Most of them were in season 1.
It's gonna skyrocket.
It's gonna go up real fast.
Yeah.
Actually, hang on. I didn't count the title of the first episode of this season, The Next Generation.
Oh, yeah.
We're up to 90 references.
That definitely counts. Oh, I was so happy that they did the episode titles this season. Like, I wish they would do that in like Strange New Worlds too, like in the style of the original series. Like episode titles, like they.
As long as they're
They
not
give you
long
something.
Latin phrases like Discovery Season 1, that was awful.
That's true. Well, a lot of original series ones were kind of like that too, actually, and they were on screen, nice and big.
Who watches the Watcher? It's one that comes to mind. Don't remember.
Someone did screenshots of what Strange New Worlds would look like with like TOS style title cards. That's very good. I don't know why they don't do
The
that.
Cage? Like, we already have that.
Yeah, they did it for. No, wait, not. Did I say TOS? I meant Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, Strange New Worlds with TOS style. That's The Cage.
Oh, well, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
That was the first thing they made. Anyway, how about that weather?
The menagerie and the cage.
Yes.
Weather's nice. I don't drive, but I went on a practice drive in a nearby parking lot. So beautiful day to go on a practice drive.
So you're learning to drive.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm from India, and so my dad would always tell me in the 70s, you just get on a scooter and just like learn how to drive. There's no driver's licenses back then, so I refuse to get a learner's permit. I just want to like drive a car mechanically.
You should probably get a permit.
Have a permit to learn to drive, at least in the UK.
You should not just go around willy-nilly driving a 2,000-pound death machine at 60 miles an hour. It's a bad plan.
I want to get a little confidence with the actual mechanics of the car, because the rule book is really complicated. You know, when you make a left turn into a 2-lane, you got to make it in the inner lane.
Fuck American rules on driving.
Oh, I'm sorry. Does the United Kingdom not have rules? Does everyone just do whatever they want?
No, we do, but we don't have the silly you can go right on a red.
That's a good rule.
In California, you can turn left on red if you're going from a one-way street onto a one-way street, but not otherwise unless otherwise indicated by a traffic light.
Which is a very reasonable thing. That like
No, it's not. It's proven to have caused massive issues. It's proven to cause deaths. Turning right on red causes death.
How?
Because the pedestrians, because drivers do not slow down, do not take care when doing it, because they can just turn right. So they do so, and it causes injury.
Also 20 seconds to start, everyone queue up.
If they're doing that, they're definitely breaking the law if they're not stopping first.
But if you had to stop if you couldn't just go straight, turn right on red full stop, then you wouldn't have that issue. The issue is because the pedestrian thinks they can cross.
Hold that rant, press play in 5, 4, 3,
wait.
2, 1, play. I will not wait. I will press play.
It you definitely got to stop before you take a like. There are very
Yes,
rare circumstances where you can actually
potentially,
turn without
yes.
this without stopping.
But
On the
the
right.
issue is that pedestrians think they can go, and the
That's a good
cars
looking
think
ship,
they
by the
can
way.
go.
No, but I think it's
So
only in the cases where pedestrians can't cross. In particular, I think like it's very rare that you can actually turn without stopping at a red light.
I'm pretty sure there is studies on it which show it is a negative thing.
Someone like not stopping while they turn on a red light for sure would be a problem. But like you have
Even if they
to
did
let people do it
stop,
though. Like
even
it's
if they did stop, they think they can then go and pedestrians think they can go anyway. We spent a bit too much time on stuff which
I would just
isn't
like to,
really
if I can interject to
consequential.
talk about Star Trek for just a moment. Those ships, the Fenris Ranger ships, very triangular. Those are good looking ships.
Yep.
They look like the one from the Enterprise intro that looks kind of like the space shuttle with bigger wings.
Immunoresistance to bureaucracy, I like that.
It is my God-given right to turn right on red.
but you yeah. But there's a reason they make you come to complete stop before you do it.
Well, good news is pretty soon we're gonna have AI and all the traffic lights. So, we'll go back to the days of having a Bobby policeman standing at the corner.
This
I
system
mean,
is already run on an algorithm.
Isn't
Because
India's
it just
traffic
makes it more
system
efficient.
just like everyone just goes whenever they feel like it? We can do that.
I'm not sure that would work in the States. We're very individualistic.
It's not a bribe, it's a facilitation fee. Is that an assault rifle from Halo?
Yeah.
It looks like it.
Alternatively, he's holding a gun. He can just shoot you and take all the stuff. It's free.
Love that we're playing the French game when we're watching the French season.
A friend. Oh, Claire Obscure.
Yeah.
And by French season, I assume you're referring to Andor, not Star Trek Picard.
Oh, there's a lot of French that has been said in this season, like Mon Ami as well, and we had my mom last week as well.
Yeah, we could count things said in French.
I guess being French is heritable.
I mean, yeah.
So Jack Crusher, he speaks French, even though he never interacted with Picard. It's all good. Oh yeah, you also missed last time. They got a little bit cornered in space, which has no corners.
Well, yes. I'm still more sad that I missed the backwards scene though. That was such a. I didn't like much about season 2, but like, that was a cool way to do a payoff.
Yeah.
Does that count as a reference? Picard just wanting to talk his way out of everything? What if we just talked, just negotiate with him?
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a reference if Picard just is Picard. Otherwise, we can just like keep pushing the counter up every time he's in a shot.
And Picard and Beverly having a relationship is the TNG reference.
Well, I don't know if I'd call it a relationship. Actually, what was their deal? I remember, all I know about it is he said, yeah, they tried.
I
They
think
don't really say, right?
the overarching element of the relationship is he did get her husband killed. So Like,
But
even
they
though they
still
were best friends.
do because the relationship starts in
The Academy.
one of the movies, right? Sort of hinted at earlier in the show a little bit that they might. I remember.
They were definitely into each other in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was also like a guilt aspect of it. Like,
Right.
sorry about that.
But then in Insurrection they.
Yeah, in Insurrection, they're officially an item because everybody was horny
Oh
because they were all
man,
going through puberty.
this guy. I
No, can I just
Look,
say he's
look,
100%
You're
listen.
right.
proven the right?
He's practical.
I know. No, I
He-
like the character. I just
He's
because
hard
the
to
other thing I
find.
missed last week was the fact that the very second we find out what he calls her, like his last line is set in stone, and it was so painful that
Mm.
like oh I know how this guy is gonna die and what his dying words are gonna be. It better not actually be that cliche.
I mean, it's a little bit like Rainier in Discovery, just being a hard ass on the crew. And it's like, well, it's because he's a good officer. He's a hard ass.
No, I liked the character, but they
Okay.
did him dirty in the end.
No, I think
Like
the Wolf 359 reference was amazing, actually. We don't get to.
like yeah, I
Like, you understand why he's such a hard ass, you know?
you do understand him, and like he makes sense.
Because,
But
the
like
level of disrespect we got last episode was a little bit shocking, you know?
It
Like,
was
it was
incredible.
uncalled. It was uncalled for
I
unless you
strive to be
realize.
that petty.
was quite the jump.
yeah,
Are you gonna invite people over to dinner and just start
just
without them?
no. Yeah.
Is that you, Ryan?
I wouldn't invite people to dinner. They invited themselves to dinner. So if people just show up at my house, yeah.
And you're just and the plates aren't set, and you finish the wine without them and say,
God, do we need a
Thank-
boo counter? It loves that sound effect.
yeah,
All
it is.
sci-fi loves that sound effect.
Starting with
Was the Reapers the first
was-
one? Because they go boo.
the blunt. Oh, was there? Oh, that's interesting because it's sort of it's associated most strongly with oh come on, Inception, or it's a very
No.
similar sound effect to the Inception blump
A
sound.
little.
It's not
I was
quite
thinking
the
you
same.
were going to say the tripods from War of the Worlds.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna go with. Something more like that, because every time they want to show an unprecedented alien attack and nothing is known about the weapon.
Bwah.
Yeah, and then it's the same. It's the same riff though. Like I would like it
Every
if you
time. It's the
Yeah.
Wilhelm
varied-
scream of sci-fi.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
would like it. I would like it a little bit modulated, but it's like you only know how to play one note on that guitar.
How's it even making that sound in space? What is it doing?
True.
God, very like Godzilla, or actually, did you guys ever see Cloverfield?
Oh God, I forgot that existed.
I know, right? From 2004.
I think I saw it,
So,
but I would have been a small child.
Oh, there's the Wolf quote.
Wait, what did he say?
Do not seek blame, do not seek something or other.
so Matt Reeves was director of Cloverfield, and he later became director of The Batman with Robin Pattinson. So sometimes
Every
even
time
if
I
you
try to
make
take
like
a screenshot, I'm a second too late. I wanted his info. Get out of the way, Rafi. I want to read it.
by the way,
Okay.
So-
Known associates
this all
Sneed,
exposition?
a Ferenginar.
Wait, how much of this is exposition?
all of it.
It's a pretty good way to do an exposition scene. I have to do.
Yeah.
Like, just have someone kind of going nuts over all
Yeah.
this. Like it.
Yeah, you're right. She did a great job.
This
Yeah.
is, this
Title
is
drop.
yeah.
2 title drops in a row.
But so in Breaking Bad, the bad guy's name is Tuco. So I
As
think this
opposed
guy
to
like
Chaluko.
Toluco is supposed to be like
That makes sense.
the meth kingpin.
Lol, no.
No. There's a
There
lot of
wasn't
that
even
going
just
on.
a. That wasn't a downward intonation denied. That was an upward intonation denied. So really denied.
That's Worf, by the way.
Yeah.
Son
We'll
of
find out who
Morg.
that is him very soon. We'll find out it's him this week.
Next episode.
He only denies her for her safety, but then he rescues her anyway.
No, I think it's more that he has to officially say she can't do it, but he knows that she's not going to let it go and follows her.
True. But also, we're gearing up for TNG season 8, so that's why Michael Dorn has to come back.
Liam gets it. He knows what's happening.
Yeah.
They kind of kill themselves, to be honest. This is on them.
Yeah. Something else about this character, though. Look, as Captain,
Bah.
let the note ripple through the air.
What air? Maybe,
As
that's
captain-
why this season is in a nebula mostly, so they can make blah sounds. They need some sort of medium.
It's not like Star Trek ever really needed that excuse. They like you to sound in space. I always like the way the Battlestar Galactica handled it, where it's like, okay, we're gonna have sound in space, but it's all gonna feel like muted, like it's underwater.
Captain, your ultimate responsibility is to the lives of your crew. So Wolf 359 Survivor being like, 2 legends can definitely die on my watch if I save everybody on the Titan, because I'm responsible for the Titan.
Oh, he caught it this time. Boo.
Yes.
Also, those Dominion. Sorry, not Dominion. Who are these guys? Like breakaways?
Gnosticans?
No, they're definitely changelings, but like
Yeah,
they're not part of the Dominion anymore.
right.
But their
The-
sound effect when they beamed in was the boo sound effect from the Mario series. The boo laugh.
I was trying to figure out if I can learn how to whistle 3 blind mice in time for the episode.
It's not that complicated.
Yeah, but I can't whistle too good.
Yeah, I would have a hard time whistling it. I can only whistle if I'm impressed. Then I will whistle without thinking about it. It's very strange. So I can't whistle on command. So in order to talk about blind mice, I would have to be impressed in 3 different ways, in 3 different amounts in
Mhm.
succession.
Yeah, I think my dream is to be the Riker, Pop Goes the Weasel, and Encounter a Farpoint.
Liam saves the day. Thanks, Liam. With
his
your
first name's Liam?
no weapons.
Liam Shaw.
Yes.
I never knew Liam was a name until Liam Neeson, but apparently it's like it's like the most typical Irish
It's pretty
name.
common.
Yeah, but it's
Oh, okay. We definitely need a bois counter because that was a third one in like 5
Yeah.
minutes. There's so
Yeah.
many of them.
I mean, we're about to get the biggest, baddest villain we've ever had in Star Trek, so it's all gonna be voix from now on.
The primary Liam that I know is Liam O'Brien, who voices every character in New Vegas.
Okay. I remember. So Liam Neeson before even taken. Oh well, he was obviously Qui-Gon. So.
I kind of wonder why Liam didn't pick off more as a name in the States, and like Sean has.
No, you know
Patrick,
what?
lots of Irish names, sort of caught on in the States, but
Oh, okay. You mean the name? I thought you meant the actor
Historically,
did a
the
lot
United
of stuff.
States wasn't
the
super
actor's
keen on
making a
the
lot of stuff.
Irish.
Yeah, but like the name Sean also is very
Yeah.
common, and that's
We changed the
But, you know,
spelling,
it's like
though.
Seamus though. We don't have Seamus here.
yeah. So I guess for somehow some
We had to have
things have
Sean so that we could
done
have the
better.
memes.
Which memes?
The video game characters yelling Sean.
Oh, okay.
I think did we get a Seamus in the Voyager episode when they're in the?
I mean, yeah, but that's
I think Seamus was
Yeah.
the drunk.
Okay, yeah.
I was gonna say
Wow.
that's
Wow.
a
Okay. Maybe that's why.
Thanks,
Named
Rick
their name
Berman.
Seamus.
stereotypical Irish name, which is the thing is like Sean is also like a obviously
Yeah.
Irish name, but it became
Very.
common enough that people don't think of it.
Is that her kid or is that just some guy?
Person. Oh, no, husband, I think.
That's her ex-husband.
Oh, okay. Yeah, probably not her son because he has a bunch of gray hair.
Yeah.
Some people go gray pretty quickly, but yeah.
I mean, I'm going gray. I'm not
I
nearly as
have
gray as
gray
him,
temples.
but
I'm going gray.
my deterioration is proceeding apace.
I always remember Data's maid at Cambridge in St. Isaac Newton's chair saying you look like a bloody skunk that is on your head, you know?
It's just so rude.
So
saving the Starfleet and the galaxy is more important to me. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Bye.
kind of. But honestly, though, you know, here's the thing: in real life, if you have a friend who goes down like a conspiracy theory rabbit hole, you probably are there. You probably can't talk any reason into them.
What you need to do is go to their house, access their Wi-Fi router settings, and
Mhm.
disable all the websites that let them access conspiracy theories.
Yeah, but then they'll know the CCP is like following them or whatever's going on. Chinese Communist Party or whatever is.
Yeah.
Sean-Luc, you're not even a captain. You haven't been a captain for 20 years, man. Come on.
There's a fantastic scene in Stargate Atlantis where two colonels beam down to Atlantis and they introduce each other, talk to say,
I was
Colonel,
just giving
Colonel.
the overpronouncing Picard's name here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Captain Vatic, of course, is a pseudonym for the Countess Regina Bartholomew.
But Soma, you were saying, you.
It's just a funny scene in Stargate Atlantis where there's three colonels in saying hello to each other in the same scene, and so they're saying, Colonel, Colonel, Colonel.
I really want to say like so. Star Trek 6 growing up was always my favorite movie.
Wait. Yeah, there she's doing it. Yeah, she's
Picard.
already. I think.
So, look,
Yeah,
she's the only one
dropping
to
the D
pronounce it
even.
correctly in the
No,
entire
yeah, no,
series.
she is. She's just pronouncing it in French.
She's just having a
but it's
great
funny.
time.
Like,
Yeah.
later
Also
Data does
undermining
the
him, sort of pointing out how.
Yeah.
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 She is the
Later,
best part of the season because she's chewing the scenery just as much as her father.
yeah. And she has the rotating chair like General Chang does.
Yeah.
Oh, rotating chairs are great for menacing people.
Do your guys'
Cry
chairs
havoc!
not rotate? It's a pretty common feature.
Okay, but can you say cry havoc and let's slip the dogs of war in your rotating chair and make it be dramatic?
I could, in theory.
Oh no, it's you can, but you don't use it to rotate that. You use it when you're like lounging a bit, just to be a little bit more casually evil.
Hmm. When you're toying with dozens of lives in your hand,
Yeah, exactly.
Jarvis? Okay. Okay.
That's when you really want to give it a good waggle, nice slow back and forth. I guess waggle is the wrong word. It's a fun word to say.
Um. So General Chang smoked too, right? He had a cigar.
What does it mean, the proverbial chest?
By the
It's
ship.
a
That's not
starship. It
really a
doesn't have a
proverb,
chest.
I guess. Still, that doesn't
She's talking
like
about
that
if
would
they
make
were to
sense
run
if
away
the hole
as
in your chest
people.
for like a proverbial like a thing like a common
By
idiom or something.
proverbial, she just means metaphorical.
Yeah,
Okay. We have a very literary villain. Okay. She's very well read on her Moby Dick and
I
Virginia
just
Woolf.
I just don't I think it was a word to make her sound literate that doesn't actually do that.
But proverbial is a figure of speech more than referring to actual proverbs.
No, I don't
Yeah,
mean
it's
proverb in the usual sense, but you usually say it when you're like using some sort of idiom or something like,
yeah.
whereas in the whole of your chest, that's just a like, yeah.
It's
All right.
it's
Well,
sort of.
while you're busy pulling apart her literary devices, she's
She's
throwing a
throwing
chip
chips at
at
people,
you.
Yeah.
So she's bad.
which
She's
is
so
very
bad.
rude.
Yeah. But it does inspire a later scene.
Well,
In
I
the
think
show
in
anyway.
Star Trek the villains always use the whom and who correctly. So you want
Yeah,
to
I
be
mean, it's a
scared of
general it's a
if somebody pulls out their grammar book.
yeah, I mean, it's a Star Trek version of giving someone a British accent, if they're a
Yeah,
bad guy.
yeah.
Uh, they have to have
Tomahawk and
some
all
way of making them sound all menacingly educated.
that. Yeah. By the way, the amount of anxiety this season produced in me, I think, was comparable to.
Oh, and here's a scene. The line, we're essentially cornered in space, which has no corners.
Yes.
Funny, but
Oh, there's an outtake in this scene where Liam takes the pad and tries to read about Captain Vatic and just doesn't work. He's having so much trouble with the pad because it's a real
Yeah, true.
tablet. It works.
Yeah.
they must have gotten
Yeah,
a
I
microsend.
like and
I
don't like
wonder
that
if
about pads in
it was
Star Trek
easier when it
now.
was just a piece of paper, so you like just
Yeah.
had to pretend it didn't
Yeah.
have to work or do anything.
I like it because using tablets means that you can directly interact, you can directly just change it and use it as an actual prop. But at the same time, you run the risk of just being too close to our modern day.
Yeah,
Yeah, my biggest
but like
problem
This
would
pad
be
still
back in
looks
auto
like a
like
rotate.
pad. It's good.
Yeah.
It
But for
helps
me,
that
when you pass
real
it,
life pads are modeled after the pad.
right,
yeah.
literally the name too. But my biggest problem would be the auto rotate when you hand it from one person to the other. It takes like half a second for it to turn around.
That is a
Is
weird
that a
name.
reference? What does that
He's
mean?
correct. It's just a weird name.
No, interstellar
Intro
fugitive, Liam.
Yeah. Yeah, it's intragalactic. Or
I think the
galactic
idea is
fugitive, perhaps.
so there's an organization called Interpol. If they put out the police notice, it's like some international criminal that you really need to stop.
Right.
Um,
But yeah,
You know,
inter because
human
international.
trafficker,
Yeah,
human trafficker. It's international police.
yeah.
He's an international criminal. He's wanted in
Yeah,
California and Oregon.
basically. Interpol notice for California criminal.
So you're saying Liam is notifying the Andromeda Galaxy to be on the lookout for him?
Yeah, yeah.
I guess it could be one of our dwarf galaxies. They're probably easier to get to. They're very close.
They went to those on TNG. Or it was the next galaxy over, and then galaxy after that, which they didn't really specify how big a galaxy it was. So probably was like Triangulum and some other little one, or really they weren't thinking about it.
I like Riker's line here. You know, that's not a ship. That's a guillotine. Like, you know, you're
This is
handing
still
more
so French.
true.
I don't remember. Is it even explained why does Vatic want Jack? Because the Borg want Jack to activate his latent nanoprobe DNA or whatever. But why does
Yeah.
Vatic care?
She's allied with the Borg because she's on a hate fest against the Federation
That just seems
because they torture her
impractical.
people.
Don't ally with the Borg.
Yeah, I mean, the Dominion's kind of wiped out, so you need to ally with the other power.
It's a bit of an exaggeration.
Yeah, so a faction of the Dominion with the faction of the Borg. That's what this was. You know, which is actually a really good point because even after World War II was done, we still had to denazify Germany. There was a lot of remnants still fighting and hiding out, and
And the
people in Argentina
un-Nazi'd the world.
and Argentina and so on. So I feel like we had defeated the Dominion, but there's probably still remnants hanging around. Is pretty accurate if we're gonna continue the World War II metaphor.
Do these planet names count as TNG references?
What are the
Chemian?
names?
I never
I
heard
don't.
Chemians.
We've been through a few now.
Chemian is definitely not from TNG. They're new.
Binar 3.
Okay.
Oh, Binar, sure, that'll count.
I didn't catch I don't remember what the first planet was.
See, I really like this because there is an organization, Refugees International. They are doing relief work is so hard, right? Because sometimes, like, the government might be complicit in the atrocities. So if you want to go in there and feed people, are you going in there with the permission of the government that's like slaughtering people? So the guy who founded Doctors Without Borders, he kind of made a mission that I'm not going to ask any government's permission to operate in a war zone. And it's way more dangerous when you do it that way, but it also means you're getting help to the people that need it. So Jack Crusher's in a similar bind. Like, I may have to bribe people with weapons, but I was trying to get vaccines to people who were like suffering. And that's the world we live in.
So I found a list of the other planets that were mentioned. None of them are from TNG. It's just Binar.
Who knows the title of the episode with the ones and zeros?
I can tell you that it's ones and zeros.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I
that's a
could
basic
list off
perception.
any number. I could just list off any combination of ones and zeros, and you'd be like, "Yep, sounds right."
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I would buy it. But no, that's an important bit of Trek trivia. You have to know the name of that episode, like, in your sleep. I like
Just
the eye
remember
drop
it as a
stroke.
number, and then translate that number back into binary.
True. Also, in the Star Trek Encyclopedia, that episode is listed under the letter O because zero
Well,
one. Well,
it should really
one
be
starts with,
before the number before the letters, but it's fine.
yeah. One starts with a O, so ONE. 110
Still, usually people
100
put numbers before letters when alphabetizing things.
1. Yeah. True, true. That's how most encyclopedias and dictionaries work also.
Should you alphabetize it by the first letter of the word that represents the number? So 3 would be T.
That's what they apparently they did. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
O for 1, which is also
Oh, sis.
I guess
Okay, there was a
I guess it's
baseball. There was a grenade for some reason.
oh yeah. So the baseball is definitely a
Cisco.
reference.
T Space 9.
We need a deep space
Probably
counter
they
and
could probably count a lot of those.
a wall counter.
So this is
And
the first
also-
old style Ferengi we've seen since Voyage Enterprise. Because all the other new Star Trek did a completely different design for the Ferengi. This is an old one.
Like the JJ movies, you mean?
Like Discovery.
Did
But
they?
stuff we
I
only
don't-
see them in the future where there is supposed to be a difference.
Yeah, they were a little different. They were reimagined.
Here,
Eh,
I'll put a picture in the Discord. They're very wrinkly.
Yeah, I remember now. We had a bigger budget. Also, the Umox things make more sense if you have more ridges in your ears.
Oh, that's so different. He's also old. Like
Really?
I think I just that's my impression is that he's just supposed to be old and distinguished. Although I guess there was also uh Wallace Shawn as the
Grand Negashan.
as yeah, so we'd have to make that comparison.
This is any protocol for Starfleet intelligence. You don't just walk into like drug dens and start haggling.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah, Picard did
It's
that.
intelligence.
True.
Cisco did that.
Chief O'Brien did that too. Remember, he was like an
Yep.
intelligence agent.
Bilby.
Yeah. How's the crackers? To be honest, they're kind of stale. I finally found me an honest man. That was a sad episode. I shouldn't laugh so much.
It's not all bad. O'Brien got a cat out of it. A free cat.
Yeah.
Chester.
You know, undercover cops have this like ridiculously hard ethical boundary to like walk on. Cause like, all right, it's one
Rafi,
thing
if you're a cop, you have to tell me.
Yeah,
Like
that's
they
kind of it is kind of what's going on here.
they all go to a strip club and you all have to like pretend to like it. But then
I mean, I think that's probably one of the easier things that they make undercover. That people do
Yeah.
to see if they're cops. Definitely on
Yeah, but
Oz,
now-
they have someone take drugs.
right.
They prove he's not a cop.
Or what if you're married though and you have to cheat and that's
Uh,
like you're crossing
mean-
your own ethical boundaries. So but yeah, hitting a little drugs is another aspect of like are you gonna do something? But now here's the real thing though. Now you have to kill somebody or you're gonna be a witness.
Yeah,
to
that's the
somebody
one
being
that
killed.
that's where it gets trickier. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
So you can't just be like, oh, I'm a cop. You know, like I was doing my undercover
Like,
duty.
if I had a spouse who were an undercover cop, I think the last thing I'd be worried about was will they go to a strip club? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
You're
it's
sure.
so dangerous that like
Yeah.
So yeah,
Uh-oh.
Toluco's not doing so hot.
So Rafi doesn't work for Toluco? No way.
No.
Oh, another DS9
I
reference.
don't
The
think we're
cups
meant
he's
to.
drinking
I think
from
we're
are from
understood,
DS9.
expected to understand that that she's lying there.
Yeah.
Sorry, what about Deep Space Nine, Ryan?
Hey, Worf.
The cups that he's drinking from are from Deep Space Nine.
Oh, okay. I just remember the
Bye.
Ractagino cups and the what
I
was
love
it,
the music here.
the square mugs that you would point out, Ryan? What shape was awkward? At the DS9 Replimat?
The Replimat.
There was
I
a
don't
shape of
know. I
mug
don't remember.
that you were always like, that's the most impractical mug ever. Why do they have cone shaped mugs? or
Oh,
something?
but yeah, the one with the really wide base and then the
The
narrow
Klingon
opening.
theme.
That is the Klingon theme. Thank you so
Son
much.
of Mocha. Because those Replimat mugs, like if you tip it up to drink from, a lot of the liquid is just going to pool in the base. You're going to have to tip it like a full 180 degrees.
Oh yeah.
Unless it's
Oh, wait,
actually
do we?
just a cylinder and it's just extra material on the bottom for aesthetics
Yeah,
or
that's what I'm
stability.
wondering.
I mean, so Shaw's point here is also they're outside Federation space. They don't have the jurisdiction to play hero.
Kind of has a point there.
Sorry, what was the point? 15 minutes?
That he could have claimed to have been
The son of the
that
person
he
who
could have
can't
been lying
speak
about
for him.
being Beverly's son.
He's just some guy.
Yeah. No, the medical tricorder should clear that up, right? Always
think-
Starfleet.
that is a good line. I like this too.
He's kind of tried to go for what's his name? The guy who's in all the is a British thug all the time.
Is this guy gonna do the stupid thing where he like lowers the force field to punch him and lets Jack
No.
escape?
No. Jack uses the
Okay.
liberalness of
Yeah.
the Federation, like to figure out the frequency.
He's
But-
he's trying to give himself up.
Yeah, no,
Ooh,
but
a trill.
it's like if you want to plan your prison. Oh, but you know what? It actually reminds you of in I think Norway or somewhere. It's not a crime to escape from jail because they understand like the human need for freedom is just an essential part of you. So like, if you break out of jail, they'll just put you back in. They won't be mad at you that you tried to break out.
Smoking. That's a nice touch too. Very Bond villain.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
does she have lungs? Is it okay for her to smoke?
It's probably that's a good point.
I think all the tar goes into their gelatinous compound.
Their goo just gets all yellowed with time.
Yeah, it's with tar.
It's just a bird, Vatic. It's not that intimidating.
I mean, intimidating with animal facts is
Yeah.
time honored tradition.
Yes, hello, Brandon Mulligan.
Sorry, was that
I was thinking more of Quentin
Do you know
Tarantino
the name
and,
of my
and
vessel?
Glorious Bastards, but yeah.
I called it the Rosate Spoonbill.
No, okay, so
Or
Obviously,
Hank Green did a version of that in on Mentopolis, where he's a thug and he just intimidates people by by naming animal facts.
Yeah.
And it's Hank Green, so he can do that indefinitely.
look, TNG's Nemesis, Shinzon's like Shinzon Sip, that is like peak TNG villainship, and everyone else has been copying it since. Because it should just look like
How
it
come
has
it took them this
pincers.
long to?
The scimitar, that was its name. So it should be literally look like a weapon, sound like a weapon.
So
Why? But it's a
who
starship.
wins? Who wins in a fight? The Enterprise G from Picard or the Enterprise E from Nemesis?
The Enterprise E is the stronger ship.
Depending on
Well, it
who's
depends
captain.
exactly on the technology difference, but
Depends on
the
who's
G is an
captain.
exploratory vessel. The E is specifically designed to attack the board.
This Titan's just a copy of the Enterprise E. In my
No,
head,
this
we're just
Titan
gonna
is a
have...
different ship. It's an entirely different ship.
Doesn't look anything like a Sovereign class.
Really? Every time it's on the view screen, I just see a Sovereign class.
It's nothing like a sovereign
You might want
class.
to get your glasses checked, your new prescription maybe.
Hey, Robo, welcome.
Thank you.
What's the name of this ship? Liam's ship?
The Titan.
Titan A?
The
Neo
Titan A.
Constellation class.
Neo Constitution class.
Sorry, thank you.
Not to be confused with the Stargazer we get in season 3,
Which is Neo Constellation. Okay.
which is a constellation
Maybe
refit,
Archer would have
apparently.
made a great captain of the Enterprise J.
Is that one the pizza cutter?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
So,
Oh, hey, Gates. What's up?
remember the last time you knocked me up?
No, I don't remember that.
Does the first
didn't know
appearance of
you-
a character from Next Gen count as a reference?
What from Next Gen?
I mean, a character appearing from Next Gen for the first time seems like a reference.
Sure. Why not?
It's also on Worf.
Fun fact, there's no such thing as child support in the future because there's no such thing as money in the future.
Oh yeah.
So technically Picard's not a deadbeat because he doesn't know child support.
He's still a deadbeat.
It's not his fault. She never told him. He
Yeah.
didn't know.
But look, she knew he'd be a deadbeat. That's why she never told him.
She was worried this one would die in a fire too.
Ouch.
His family's cursed.
What was the guy's name that it was a
The
plot
currency is
from Bach,
likes.
and he resequenced his DNA to make him look like he was Picard's son. We never saw that guy again.
That was Tom Hardy in Nemesis. By the way, this villain's crazy, and that makes her even more scary.
So who wins, the Shrike or the Scimitar?
Right.
So
I don't think we have a
my
way to power scale them.
my thesis is
Blah.
Scimitar originator. Blah,
Wait,
bad
does the
ship.
scimitar go bois? Because this ship goes bois.
I think there was a voix at that point.
I don't know. Whoa, what just happened?
The episode's over. We're going to the next episode.
Also, the scimitar cloaks, which the voix strike
Shrike.
does not.
All right, the next episode is 17 seconds. Let's see where the recap ends.
Short episode.
CBS Productions, blah, blah, blah.
Another blomp.
Okay. 1 minute 53 seconds where it says alert condition red. That's where we're starting.
Thank you.
I like that they brought this back from TMP era.
Mm.
Oh my god, the episode starts with a blah.
Yeah.
Stop.
Classic sci-fi.
You know, actually though, fun fact, Star Trek the Motion Picture probably started the voix because they invented a new instrument that allowed to have the V'ger note. It was 100-foot long, not even piano
Hold.
wire. It was like
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play.
wow. So it was like a 50-foot long metal twine that they would hit a military shell on, and that would cause the voix sound from motion picture.
So we've said many times this is not what nebulas look like, but it still looks really
Yeah.
good.
You know, the
It's a
word
good
nebula literally
nebula.
means cloud in Latin, so I think it
Yeah.
works fine in the context of a Star Trek of a.
It
Well,
is
the thing is that a
nebulae are
nebula-
clouds. They're just really diffuse.
Yeah, they
Right.
look like this from a large distance away, but actually inside them, they look even less.
So sort of like an
than the
an
actual
You would
asteroid
know.
field,
Like
which is
nothing,
actually
basically.
almost entirely empty space.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wouldn't notice you're in a nebula
To
necessarily,
be
is what
fair
you're
on the
saying.
asteroid field point, the only reason
least-
why we think that is because of the natural formation of asteroid fields over a long period of time. A
Yeah.
recently formed asteroid field would look like you see in Star Wars.
But it wouldn't be that way for very long though.
True.
Like that's the thing. Like if it were actually dangerous to fly through it, then like the asteroids should be hitting each other that often.
They would
as well.
pulverize
Like,
themselves.
Mhm.
And you'd end up with just dust, a ring of dust.
yeah.
Maybe the ring of dust would eventually coalesce into a sphere. And
So-
you'd have a
The Titans in like a real life
Kind of weird as well.
no-win
Forming solar
scenario.
systems do actually do that.
Sorry, Somi, you got a little quiet.
The formation of a solar system is literally that over the course of thousands of years. The rocks
Billions.
banging into each other. The actual formation doesn't. The formation of the rocks themselves is not. I don't think it's millions, but it's a shorter period of time than the other parts.
Well, I'm
I
glad I
think
was here for the end of it. So
none of
the
us would be here for
Badlands,
the end of it.
there's no Badlands, like all that electrical, or the Mutara Nebula. You don't have all that electrical activity going on.
No. Maybe if you were like a star is mid forming and you're like in the middle of where it's coalescing.
Of the ionosphere or something. Yeah.
I do like that as a card. Just before we don't need to be more specific.
Yeah, who
than that,
cares?
it's
Don't worry
fine.
about it.
I like.
Oh no, he's deep faked.
I like Cinema
Oh, yeah.
Sins. If you show us like
Cinema Sins.
Paris, comma France, is like as opposed to Paris, Ohio, like you don't have to tell us where Paris is. We can figure it out.
On this channel, we don't support Cinema Sins.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
Why
gonna
don't
mute
you like
myself.
Cinema
it
Sins?
seems fine to say Paris,
could-
France.
Yeah,
That
because
doesn't.
they
Yeah,
just nitpick and
And lie.
pick on things that aren't even issues anymore.
yeah. It's nitpicking, and it's not even. I mean, you can do nitpicking in a much more fun way that makes it clear that you
Entirely.
actually do like movies.
Yeah.
A lot of the
Uh,
sins are just outright lies.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
true. They've been
Yeah.
caught
or
in.
just things that someone doesn't understand.
How about
yeah.
Konama
Yeah.
wins?
Yes, Cinema
is great.
Wins is good.
No, that's true though. I
This is
remember
the
reading
same guy, is it? Yeah.
Different
like they
guy.
were just
Different
watching
guy.
a movie in a.
Oh, is it a
They-
different guy? Someone thought it was
No,
the
it's
same
the
guy.
It's the same guy.
Absolutely not the same guy.
Cinema Sins and Wins are two different people.
No way.
That's funny.
I thought he grew older and wiser with time.
Nope, Cinema Sins guy is still being awful on his Sins channel.
Yeah.
Oh my god, no way.
Everything wrong with CinemaSins is a fun exercise though, where someone goes through a
Yeah.
CinemaSins video and counts up all the stupid things he's just saying. Oh, the
Yeah,
deep faking really is not good.
If you're a careless movie
Yeah,
watcher,
he
then you
doesn't.
really shouldn't be
He looks
saying
weird.
anything.
Yeah,
Look,
They both look
guys,
weird.
this is still
it's so weird.
we're still working on it. It's not
I
as
guess the
perfect.
card isn't too bad, but
We live in an AI age. We're used to this being perfect. This is the best they had at the time. Like when you look at
You mean at the
This is not
time
that
as in like
long
3
ago,
years
dude.
ago?
yeah,
I mean, AI's come a long way in the last 3 years.
that
Yeah.
not what this ain't kind of AI. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, they were already doing better than this, like with in was it Wonder Woman with not Wonder
It looks
Woman.
just like the
I'm
X-Men
pretty
one.
sure I saw some of his wrinkles
Captain
phase in when he
Marvel.
turned his head.
That is the hard part
I-
about it.
Is she deep faked? I don't. I think that's just her.
I think she's just blurry.
Yeah.
They put a cake of makeup on her.
It's also just like she's smaller in screen. She's blurry. Like it you know,
She's
Yeah,
blue.
about a few million years before.
not as important.
Would it be more aesthetically pleasing if it were blue?
Jeffrey Combs? Yeah, he
Well-
looks great blue.
It's a little tragic because their son hasn't died yet. Because like their marriage starts falling apart after their son
Yeah.
dies. So
Their marriage doesn't fall apart.
they
Yeah,
take a break.
Are they, I
It's
kinda
falling
wish they
apart
said
right
instead of
now.
Present day. Like
Yeah, they're not-
if they said
Yeah, yeah.
before, it should be before it's now.
before present day. Okay.
That's
I mean,
another
present day is obviously fine.
thing
I
which
just
did
wanted it a
this.
little bit. I would like it a little bit better.
Yeah.
What is today but tomorrow's before?
Well, I have this one expression. Yeah, it happened before. Like Moses is before Hitler, but
Poor Liam.
before-
How long did we go before your review made a Hitler reference? How long?
It's
did we
been
make it?
quite
Made it
a
into the
while
second
since we've
episode?
talked about Hitler. It's been a good long while.
Although I did before.
We need
you
a
joined the
we need a
stream
new
very well.
counter. We need a new counter, Ryan.
No,
Hitler / Nazi references from
I'm
your
not
review.
putting the word Hitler on screen.
Smart.
Okay, good point. Good point.
Although before you joined Robo,
The
I was
Ryan's
talking
Edits
about
YouTube channel officially does not endorse Hitler.
I did mention denazification at the beginning of the last episode.
That's true.
A lot of people apparently do these days, which, not great.
Yeah.
Well,
God, we're so
all right.
screwed.
So I've got a date later, and the movie theater by me is showing Blazing Saddles, and I was like, we should
Good
go
movie.
see Blazing Saddles. It is a good movie, and I was
Yeah.
like, but just so you understand,
Have they not
I'm
made a
like,
new
this
movie in the
movie-
last, 20 years? What's going on here?
I said, listen, like, just so you understand that this movie is making fun of racist people, is not, and some people don't understand that it's making fun of them and not portraying them in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, maybe
Well, some
we
people
should
are
see
dense.
something else. And I'm like,
I mean, that is you did describe the movie in a concerning fashion, I have to say. Like if that's the only thing someone knows about the movie, they might be like, maybe that's
Yeah.
not.
I mean, that movie does kind of need a
Well,
content
actually,
warning.
you have to be kind of an idiot not to realize that it's. I
It's
mean,
from-
well,
but some people are idiots, so yeah.
yeah.
Unrelated, when, what's her face? Jordy's daughter? I don't know her name. Ensign LaForge
Crash.
is saying like, oh, Liam, Captain Shaw might think you're insubordinate. My brain autofills a little bit. And churlish.
What does churlish mean?
Like a churl.
Okay, I've seen the word. I just never cared to pick it up. There, in my county, they built a museum of motion picture, and I think once it was on a date too. I saw an old Frank Sinatra movie. It's kind of cool to see like historical movies that are
Oh,
historical.
there aren't very many new ones, so.
Yeah. The lady is a
Yeah,
tramp.
what's Frank doing these days?
Old yellow eyes.
Decomposing. That's cool.
Brent Spiner released the Frank Sinatra album, by the way. It's called Old Yellow
Sure.
Eyes.
Well,
Oh, this is the
we're
conversation
waiting.
you
There we
hope
go.
you never have.
Casperia Prime. Okay, that's a DS9 reference. That was Julian was
Oh.
going to a conference on Casperia Prime and got kidnapped, because of course he did.
Something funny about Picard's lore, they mentioned the Hirogen like invade the Federation or something. And they mentioned it later when Picard's like answering
Hirogen?
questions. Yeah, it happens right now here too, by the way. The Hirogen interrupted our honeymoon. But then when Picard's like telling, fielding questions from students at the academy in the bar, 10 forward, they bring up the Hirogen adventure again. I'm like, how did the Hirogen come all the way from the Delta Quadrant?
How are they even a threat? They couldn't beat Voyager.
I think the writers
What
are
did-
having a laugh at us.
Did they shoot the other seasons handheld?
Yeah, I think this
remember.
is handheld.
Well, this is definitely handheld, but like,
Yeah.
It's handed.
it feels different. I don't think they were doing that in the. I mean, as someone who was watching Homicide in the '90s, and was very happy at how many things were shot documentary style in the aughts. I'm here for some handheld filmmaking.
Oh, they're Remans. Haven't talked about them in a minute. I guess that counts as a TNG reference.
Yeah,
TNG movies.
Mm-hmm.
The weird vampire people.
I assume that's another. Was that Nemesis?
Yeah, Praetor.
Yeah, we didn't get that in TNG. I mean, not like every week, Once in a while.
What?
Mostly just Damon Bach, really just had
Picard
a
did get hit by a grenade
obsession.
once.
Tomahawk.
He did, but it wasn't intended for him. It wasn't a grenade with his name on it, like he was collateral damage because he was there.
So
You're talking about Tapestry?
Yes.
I like
With the hole in
I
his
like this-
proverbial chest.
Wasn't
Well,
it
there's
like
direct
the
reference to
explosion
last
caused
season.
some type of plasma discharge that hit him in the chest?
I don't know, man. I just remember him with a big black blob of paint on his chest.
Yeah.
No, I mean, look, she's 100% right. Jean-Luc always said, "I don't want a family. I don't want a partner." He didn't need a kid in his life. He was too busy.
He hates kids.
Yeah.
I hate kids. I am 100% on board. Child free for life.
Well,
Yeah, they're talking about last season with his views on his father.
Oh yeah.
True. Yeah, good point. So fun fact, we have in vitro fertilization now, and people have lied. Like, people pick their DNA donor based on a little blurb that you write. So this guy wrote that he was a PhD and he was 6'3" and he's everything. And it turns out none of that is true. And like dozens of people selected him to be the sperm donor. And also the sperm bank is not supposed to give out the same family within like a certain radius of miles. So it turns out all these people have like first cousins and second cousins and first cousins once removed within 100-mile radius because the sperm bank didn't keep its promise.
What you should do is you just put all the sperm into a big vat and mix it together. You avoid those issues completely.
Yeah, so I feel like Picard's in this situation. It's like, I didn't really mean to put myself out there, but now I find myself I got a lot of IVF kids.
Yeah, I was thinking about being a sperm donor just so that like my DNA is out there. Not. I don't want to
That's
raise
weird.
the kids. I just want the legacy, the progeny.
I do not get that impulse whatsoever.
Just the problem is when there's 5 kids in one kindergarten class and they all have the same IVF dad. So
Well, that's
it's
not my
kind of
fault.
yeah,
That's the IVF clinic's fault.
yeah.
They should be like, you can't pick this donor because there's already, somebody in your zip code with that
Yeah.
donor.
Anyway, Star
I,
Trek.
No, I'm just saying Picard should have been consented before he had a kid.
He consented to the act,
Mm-hmm.
and she chose to raise the child alone, so he didn't
Oh,
need the
this is-
consent because he wasn't involved.
Oh, this isn't Golem Picard. Okay, this is like biological Picard. Okay, right.
This is
At the
This is
time it
Golem
was.
Picard.
No, at the
was
time it
biological
was
Picard.
fleshy Picard. Okay.
Gross
Golem
meat-based
Picard.
Picard.
All right. That's kind of cool. I wonder if Golem Picard can have kids.
No. Well, they could have stored a little bit of his stuff
I think Data's
on
virile,
ice,
right?
Zeta's
Data?
fully functional, but
No.
he's not got a biological capability of passing
Okay,
on.
okay. All right, we didn't work on that.
I don't really want to talk about the functionality of Picard's genitals.
Sorry. Look, I was complaining about the age last episode, and you all called me ageist.
Look, it's a pretty ship that looks nothing like a Sovereign class. Oh, it's gone. A starship, you say? Is this whole episode just going to be them talking about their past and relationship troubles?
A lot of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
And
we
then it
needed
could
a
be the birth of a
scene.
biological life form.
You need to have the conversation of where did this child come from? Because the first 2 episodes, I was not happy at all. I thought it was an IVF baby, so I was like, this show's kind of stupid. That somehow the Hirogen implanted Picard's DNA.
What? How did you get that from...
I don't know. I'm glad it didn't go that way. I'm ageist, remember? I can't think about these two.
Picard would have been what, 49 or so when
Oh,
when they
okay.
had the kid, 50, like not.
No, she's not. Oh, okay, okay.
I said I'm not sure, but Crush is definitely younger.
But you know what I
I
do like
remember
though?
Picard's like
Beverly-
41 at the beginning of TNG.
Beverly did disappear, so I do like the aspect of like, how come this character stopped talking to us?
There we go, explaining the accent. Because he went to school in London, that's why. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, definitely how that works.
Look,
Jarek,
When
how
it's
long
right,
have
when
you
it
been
actually
in
is why Sandy
England?
talks the way she does. But she had to work at it to acquire the accent.
How long have you been in
Do
England,
naturally
Jarek?
pick
Why
up the
don't you
accent of
sound
those around you at school.
British?
Why don't you sound British?
Yeah, she learned her accent by watching old movies, as I recall.
Avoiding the question.
there was a conservative writer, William F. Buckley. He's from New York, but like he went to boarding school, I think, for like a few summers in UK, and his whole life he spoke with a British accent, like a very patrician accent.
I think that sounds like something he would have done. Yeah,
Yeah,
and again, deliberately would have picked it up.
yeah, it was part of him.
Unless he moved when he was like 9, it's unlikely his accent would have changed on his own.
Our efforts must be focused here. This far, no further. You didn't even
remember I went
try,
down-
Jean-Luc. Come on, man.
I remember I went down south for a month. I came back with a drawl, but obviously I lost it.
How old were you?
22 or something.
Dude.
Wow.
No, okay, but my point is though I lost it. If I maintained the southern accent, It would have been a bit.
This nebula ain't big enough for the two of us.
That's Texas. That's Texas.
Which
and
is
then,
in the
but people told
south.
me, "Oh, you don't have an
Eh.
accent." And I was like, "Oh yeah, because
It's literally the southernmost point of the United States. What are you talking about? At least the continental. I don't know where Hawaii
Yeah, but when
is.
when you think of a southern accent, you're thinking of a southern drawl, not a Texas.
Well, like Missouri.
You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Virginia,
Alabama,
definitely-
Georgia.
South Carolina is the heart
someone
of
from
the
from Mississippi who had like a proper drawl. It was great.
yeah. Even Florida's like a little bit more culturally southern than Texas per se. So
Transferring command to the guy he hates.
Lyndon Johnson was from Texas. So he was asked, what's the difference between someone from the South and someone from Texas? And his answer was, in Texas, we don't fuck our cousins.
Hey, Star Trek.
Nice Fulton line.
Let me shut up.
Oh my god, Jean-Luc, you have to wait for the orders. How'd you feel if Worf did that?
What would be the difference of it hitting the shields or exploding in front of them?
Because the concussion wave science.
Wouldn't the concussion even be way more powerful if it was right up close?
You see, because
let
they
it hit them.
detonated it at a distance, it used the phase inversion
But
of the
force-
nebular
the force of the-
tachyons.
The force of the
detonated
concussion
not
falls off with a square of the
the ship.
distance.
true. But the
No, but if there's
So-
multiple concussion waves behind it, it amplifies.
Anyway, they deliberately
multiple?
did it such that it
No.
wouldn't damage the ship. That's the reason why it had to be at a distance.
Yeah, well, it could be much further from your own ship if you let it impact the enemy ship.
We're getting live,
What if we
right?
take the recruitment center
From
and
Worf?
push it somewhere else?
Is this the one where they're dragging an asteroid with a tractor beam and then fling it at a ship?
Yes. So at some point.
Worf, you left her a gun? I'm not sure that's a good plan, man.
So this
Alright,
is the same thing
that'll be good
Picard
over Worf.
was wait, this is a first contact reference. Picard was playing Berlioz when he was waiting for
Like,
the
but
port.
That's
he's
right.
also about to rattle off like 5 next gen references in a row. I guess one of them's a DS9
That
reference.
phaser has a knuckle duster on it.
But whether this is so loud in the movie that in the novelization of the movie.
But yay!
Oh, hey, they remember. Hey, they remembered literally anyone but Moog.
No, he said "son of Moog" right off the bat.
Yeah, I'm saying they remembered people other than Moog for once.
Oh,
That was about 3 or 4 references.
But they were
Yeah,
all
he
to
was
DS,
awesome. That was
such a
mostly
fun
to
moment.
DS9.
Right,
Rozhenko
go.
was
Beta Dura
TNG.
Systems. I have made some chamomile
Yep.
tea. Would you like some?
Bane of Duras. Duras's family
So-
has been bad forever.
Are we counting DS9 references? Because like
No,
No.
just TNG.
some of that. Okay, so Slayer of Gowron doesn't count.
oh, that's a good title.
Got Gowron into
Gowron
power,
is-
got Gowron out of power.
Gowron is TNG though.
But slaying Gowron was not.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like how Cisco is completely on board with the assassination.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah,
mean,
it
it's-
needed to
You
be
know,
done.
in their culture.
Also, Gowron was the one who invaded the Arachnia system, and he broke
Gowron
off-
invaded Iraq?
Can I point something out? I just
Iraq
wanna
has
point something
photon
out.
torpedoes.
Everyone, one moment. So, in the episode where Worf kills Gowron, here's what I want you to think about.
Base drum, is that?
That conference room that they were in on Deep Space Nine, who appointed it? Who put those batliths on the wall? Gowron's
Gowron.
staff. When Gowron was challenged, Gowron got up and picked the batlith first. Worf picked the only other batlith, and Worf's batleth broke into 3 pieces during the fight. I think Gowron's staff intentionally put a faulty batlet on the wall specifically for this exact scenario, and Gowron
That makes
knew
sense.
which batleth to take.
I don't know.
That
It
is
was probably
exactly something
Duras.
Gowron would do. That's exactly something Gowron would do.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So he's like, yeah, just in case someone ever challenges me with a batless, that
think-
one, I want you to have it made with a flaw so it breaks into pieces.
For sure. He was just acting more and more reckless.
That is without honor.
Gowron was always without honor.
He was
No,
pretty
Gowron
chill
was
in
the honorable
TNG.
one in TNG.
Yeah.
Gowron
got a lot
was
angrier in
always
DS9.
a politician and therefore always without honor.
He was the reasonable choice in TNG. But yeah, I agree with you,
Rafaela,
Ron.
nobody calls her that Worf.
The Duras family has been evil for like over a century. It's pretty impressive.
I feel like Worf is not a big nickname guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he
Well,
would
Picard's
definitely
about
say
to find
things
out
like
who stole
Klingon's
those
warrior
weapons.
uses the full first name when he advises someone, which,
Oh, but Ryan, did we count that Berlioz opera as a TNT reference?
I have no memory of that being true, but I guess I'll just trust you and say 97.
Don't you remember the scene when he's drowning out the opera and Riker's like Bizet and he goes Berlioz. So in the
Vaguely.
First Contact novelization, Picard's trying to drown out the sound of the Borg Collective. That's why the music is so loud. Like the teacup is shaking.
The only classical music I really remember is, other than the Beastie Boys, of course,
Mm-hmm.
is the Doctor and Janeway listening to it.
Put your arrest in.
What do they listen to?
Janeway's
Going...
is from
Oh,
Counterpoint.
yeah.
Right.
She looks like
The
the ensign from the USS Valiant, the Defiant knockoff, and the only survivor of the Valiants.
Some good bedside manner.
like I like the scene because like medical science is always advancing and sometimes we find out some of the surgeries we were doing have been like you take out too much tissue. You should actually be leaving some tissue in. And then I also like, here the scene they're using it to show that Jack is like a very caring person. Like he's doing triage for the patients. Like
I assume Jack is trackable. Can we put Jack in like a containment cell? We did that with Hugh.
Amanda, that's what LaForge's daughter's name is.
Sydney.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You triggered my
Amanda's the other
internet
one.
instincts. I couldn't remember her name until you said one that was incorrect. And then it comes back to me.
I think her sister was Amanda.
Maybe.
Mhm.
To be more specific, how
Yeah.
big's the nebula?
Her sister is Alondra LaForge, not Amanda.
Since when are turbo lifts guarded?
Good question.
Since this show actually decided to have some logic about defending the bridge during battle.
I think it just have the turbolift program be programmed not to go to the bridge.
Hmm. But then you can have someone reprogram it.
I assume it's about to warp right in front of us.
No, it's gonna open up a portal. That's what the Red Lady attack was about. They have portal technology.
Wah.
That's our warning.
Uh-oh. She's a predator.
Just go to warp right now. Why are we waiting? Just go to warp.
They can't yet. They don't have the capability.
Come on, we already did this in motion picture. What? 12 power energy? Okay, this was seriously scary. I'm telling you, this season gave me more anxiety than any other season of television.
It sure looks like we're out of the nebula. Are we sure we can't warp from here?
You just
They don't have warp capability this second, I think, is the reason. They're
No,
trying.
we were gonna open up the nebula and hit the warp and punch it.
And now just turn here.
So, are we gonna come up with this anytime soon? Because I kind of need a portal.
Like you can see where it's going. You can see just dodge.
Turn left. Left.
What the fuck?
Look,
That's
look.
called inertia. They don't have time. That's the whole point.
She knows where they're going. That's why she shot it.
I would like them to have tried though. I would like them to have like tried a hard left and then not pulled it anyway. Right?
What
Like, just sort
happens
of
if half of the ship
moseying
goes through the portal?
when you can see where the thing's getting fired?
And then the portal closes, the ship gets sliced in half.
Yeah. Is it? I feel
Yeah,
like we
about
can
that,
keep this
Picard.
up all day. How many times can they fire that thing?
It's a good question.
I like how her deflector dish is like a thorax of a arthropod.
Not like a bird.
Pallas. That's just named after the showrunner.
Metallus Prime. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the orbit of this planet was absolutely swarming with runabouts.
They surplus them out. Starfleet had a sale on surplus runabouts.
Eh,
Could buy them really cheap.
All Klingons are in warrior gear by definition.
valuable.
Is that Ben Wyatt? AKA the helmsman from First Contact?
No. Lieutenant Hawk?
No. The helmsman on the Defiance. He said there's another starship coming in. It's the Enterprise.
Oh, okay. Right. Thanks for clarifying.
I had not seen Deep Space Nine when I saw First Contact for the first time, so that meant nothing to me. The Defiance.
Yeah.
It was just, yep, that's a ship for sure.
Yeah. Just Worf's appearance was strange on it.
Oh yeah, same here.
The headings are on Wednesdays.
Oh,
Also,
Worf.
they
Klingons do
clip
not
that
laugh.
scene?
He makes mirthless jokes.
I
cut
did
that
like the
scene.
fact that they realized that Worf is actually the funniest character on the show. Yeah.
they cut the scene so much of the first contact battle that it didn't even make sense that like the Defiant was almost knocked out of service and it was doing all the punching. Because all you get is a line from Riker to Worf, "Tough little ship," and Worf goes, "Little," which
It is a
again,
little ship, though, wasn't
it
it?
is a little ship. So
It
why
is.
would you object to being
It's a
called little?
baby.
And also has a blade of armor, so it's
It's a baby
literally
with a
tough
knife.
ship. It's a baby with a blade of armor. I like this because you know you have
Can
to
they smell
operate
your
outside the
exhaust?
chain of command. Yeah. So in all of Star Trek, right? You're supposed to follow orders, except when you're not supposed to follow orders because it would go against like morality or human life or the future of humanity. So this whole season takes that and distills it to being like you never hijack a starship except when you have to save the entire fleet.
Or one guy,
No, but
Spock.
I mean, see, if we didn't hijack this ship to save the one guy, Jack Crusher, then we wouldn't have saved the fleet on Federation Day.
If Jack just died from one of these blasts, everything would be fine.
Exactly. Just kill Jack. Game over.
All right, I mean,
Now, of course, the actors can barely talk through these things. So all this is ADR'd. But when you watch the blooper reel, they didn't do that. It's just Seven's trying, sorry, what's her name? Jerry Ryan is trying so hard
Ryan.
to deliver her lines, and Jack actually just goes, rah, 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 rah.
Oh, he doesn't even. She does, that's funny. Just does the full. What do you call it?
Charlie Brown.
Peanuts? Yeah. Wop, 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 wop.
you know, we were mentioning before, like Picard's main connection to Dr. Crusher is that he got her husband killed in the line of duty.
Well,
He was best friends with her husband, but
Right.
he knew her before. That's not his
Before.
main connection. I would say
They were
that's
all friends. They were all friends. But in TNG though, like
he
their
always
main-
liked her. He was that guy that
he was
that
jelly.
was creeping on his best friend's girlfriend the whole time. So it's
Yeah.
kind of creepy. He's kind of a skis.
Look, you have a best friend, he dies, now he's out of the picture. It's not your fault if you fall in love with his hot wife.
He definitely
So-
got him killed on
It's
purpose.
ostensibly your fault. Yeah, yeah.
There's nothing that is his fault. But anyway, the fact that he got her husband killed, now he has to
On
look out
purpose?
for her son. Not on purpose. And also Wesley was a similar
Yeah,
kind
on
of
totally on purpose. He ordered him to go there, and he knew it was
Mhm.
dangerous. He was probably ordering him on every dangerous mission just so that he
She's
could get
mine
him
now,
killed.
Jack.
Yeah, exactly.
unlikely.
Oh,
But
hey,
I'm gonna get rid of your twerp too, Jack. I'm gonna
So
send
that's
him
the
off
thing.
with the
he had
traveler.
he had this fatherly relationship towards Wesley for that reason. And now letting Jack
I
Crusher
wouldn't
die.
call it fatherly, but sure.
There
a
were moments.
shapeshifter.
I don't know, like there's a Jake Gyllenhaal movie called Brothers. Similar motifs, also Hunter Biden vibes. But like basically look, when you come back from
What?
war, your brother's widow is, fair game. So
It's really creepy, dude.
Are we sure that's not Ben Wyatt? That
military families have a lot of struggle, man.
it used to be the law.
Like-
The Bible says that's how it works.
That's true. That's another aspect of it. But also, like, look, if two people are grieving and they're mourning, sometimes you do something stupid like fall in love with the widow because it hurts so much and no one could understand what you're going through. So that's the same
Don't
thing.
good
That's why
cop,
we
bad cop. What are you doing?
can't. So we can't give up Jack Crusher because it would be like giving up Jack Crusher all over again.
He's a pacifist.
Gross. Wait, Worf, no, you cut off a guy's head.
Yeah,
That was to save a life.
He's a pacifist unless it's going to be totally sick.
This guy turned out to be a changeling because
Everybody's a
Rafi-
changeling in this bloody season.
Rafi thinks it's a drug
also
addict
the Borg.
until his voice changes.
Yep.
It's like that's not a sign of drug addiction or drug withdrawal. Where's his bucket?
It's really weird that they made a canon that changelings have to have a bucket. A special kind of bucket.
Yeah.
Nope,
Says the
Raffi,
drug addict.
incorrect.
So this is morally questionable, right? Because you can't just put an addict through withdrawal.
Well, but physically you can, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if that's your interrogation technique, you're kind of messed up.
He'll be fine.
I need my stuff.
Jack, you good? You didn't even get hit that hard. You're fine.
No, it's the
It's the gas, right?
yeah. Material.
Jack, you didn't even need that lung. You're fine.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the weird tree,
Yeah.
which I believe that symbolizes the Borg assimilation in, like, your veins.
Mm.
How it spreads across people's faces.
There's the red door.
I'm so sad they answered all that with just, oh, it's the Borg again.
I
We
didn't
couldn't
realize the
actually go
Borg
all
were so
season
big on
without doing
metaphor.
Borg things.
I would have liked another season dedicated to mental health awareness. I was hoping he had schizophrenia, but fortunately it wasn't that.
It's just always the Borg every time.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like how the season ends, really.
Yeah.
It's a bit
What?
of good, but
You guys don't like jellyfish? Please.
If we're going to do the Borg, I really like how the Borg ship, like with all the skeletons and the Borg Queen, that was really well depicted.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to do the Borg.
If she cannibalized her own drones, yeah.
yeah, but here we go. Jet's quote unquote dead.
He can't die, it's only episode 3.
Did you guys see what he played King Arthur? No, he played the boy who becomes King
The
Arthur.
tricorder looks better in that shot. It doesn't look just like a Z flip.
Show, get out of here with the dramatic
Okay.
music.
Yeah.
We know he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
So he was the kid in Aragon, which also came out like Cloverfield time.
That was
2005.
forever ago. How old is this guy?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
looks
so
like he's
that's
like
the thing, he was
25. What do you mean?
He was a 5-year-old child actor who was that hero of Aragon in 2006. So that's when the kid became famous.
Famous? Wasn't Aragon bad?
Yeah, it didn't do too well, but like I think the book series was like one of the best selling series before Game of Thrones and stuff. Like there was a point in 2005 when every movie was about dragons, and that's before Game of Thrones restarted that. Also, if you watch Downton Abbey, I think he plays the Irish driver who falls in love with the British aristocratic girl.
Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah.
People don't do the scary Gandalf voice when they're on withdrawal?
No, although you're definitely changing. You're acting like a demon's in you for sure.
Okay, yes, good thing Worf is here. He's seen his fair share of changelings.
Right, I think it's a DS9 reference, right? Does it come up on Next Gen?
Changelings? They are absolutely not in next gen.
No, but the Great Link though.
No,
Oh yeah,
no, no,
not
no.
Next Gen. Yeah. They come up at all in Next Gen?
No, they are a DS9 invention. They
also
do come
don't
up in
much
Voyager.
like this manufactured issue between Picard and Riker.
Well, Riker is very correct in this scene.
Yeah. And he's proven even more correct by what happens afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, what do you think is gonna happen when you fire at the thing at the thing with the portal gun? See, if they just played Portal, they would have understood these things.
This is
Oh.
actually
Why
pretty
can't he
similar to
just-
what Odo was like when he was solid too long.
So why doesn't he just go liquid? Like, why does he try so hard to hold his shape?
Gross.
That was a nice blob of goo.
Yeah, they're a lot more meaty than they were in DS9.
Yeah, that's true. It does seem more like a meat puree.
So okay, so how do we detect changelings? Because blood screenings, we know they don't work. What do we do?
Well, they actually do get pretty genre savvy here.
You have to
Like-
ask them what Pinot Grigio wine do you like?
Yeah, like I like that. I like the strategy session that they do. It was sort of like The Thing, where they also do some very smart things for, like, what do you do if there's a shapeshifter?
See, in TNG season 1, I
They
hate
don't
to
want
bring
us
that
to
up.
war with Starfleet. They're just planning an attack on Starfleet. It's totally different.
I think
Yeah.
the last episode of the season is called Conspiracy, and they
Oh,
were
yeah.
supposed to have a changeling conspiracy in TNG season 1 where there's a changeling infiltration of the Federation Starfleet Command.
I remember
Excuse
people
me, they
that was
weren't
a common theory
changelings.
about
They were
this season.
bugs.
Yeah,
Yeah, but see, it's the
they
same
weren't
thing.
changelings.
It was the
And that was
changeling
actually-
threat.
I remember people were hoping that this
Yeah.
season would turn out to be a continuation of that storyline, of that
So yeah, so I feel like
of the
They'll be back.
DS9, the whole the whole changeling threat was like kind of a continuation on that, and I feel like this is going.
no, but they weren't changelings in Next Gen.
Didn't they? Okay, wait. You're saying
were
they're not
bugs. They
changelings?
infested them.
No. I'm sorry. Wait, I don't mean to be combative, but when they shot the guy with the phaser, and he exploded into a giant pile of goo.
No, because he was shot with a phaser. He wasn't a shapeshifter.
That was
Why
just
didn't we
human
shoot-
meat.
Why didn't we shoot the bug then? Why did we have to?
We did
blow
shoot
up
the
bag of
bug.
meat?
Because he was infested with a
Okay. I
We
mean,
shot the guy. The
Was
guy
it-
exploded. The queen came out of his chest cavity, and then we
Yeah.
shot the queen.
Okay.
oh yeah, it's a
Okay.
parasite. Yeah.
Then we shot the bug. Okay.
Because they seek peaceful coexistence.
You could see why they never continued with that plot line, just because.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
So here we
No.
are.
If it isn't the consequences of my own actions. Yeah.
Look, in fairness, we never had a
But-
villain do that to our heroes before, so
And they also didn't really
But
have a
it's
choice.
a portal gun. Like, what the fuck? Like,
God
this
will,
whole
have you never
thing
played
is-
Portal?
Yeah, exactly.
what were you saying, Soma?
They didn't really have much of a choice at that point because they couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah. Well, Riker's about to order you off the bridge, Soma, because your backward justification isn't helping anyone.
Well, that's nice. It'd be weirder if you were sinking away from the gravity well.
Well, here's a moment.
Yeah.
You're looking a little blue there, Riker.
Oh,
You know what hurts? That they're best
Yeah.
friends for like 30 years.
Roddenberry would not approved of this whole of the story
I
beat.
I don't agree with Riker doing it like that. I don't necessarily take issue with him ordering Picard off the bridge. I just don't think this at this point in his life, Riker would ever say that in front of a crew.
Yeah.
Look, guys,
He's
we're
trying out some
hurtling
That was-
negative
that was-
reinforcement.
That was like
No.
Riker in the
that
first
was-
3 or 4 seasons of TNG, yes, he would have done that. Riker, after that point, learned his lesson and would not have done so.
Uh-huh. And notice you picked the best of both worlds 3 or 4 seasons counterpoint.
Okay.
something
Well, that's the
did
point
change.
of
Hang
which
on,
his
hang on.
character developed a lot.
The next episode, no win scenario, we're starting at 219, which is where it says 5 years ago. That's our starting point. Okay. So yeah, they're in a bad
So-
way. Not doing great.
You know, best friends do fight, and friendships do naturally have an expiration date, maybe.
this
Oh,
is
yeah,
about,
they
didn't just
definitely have an
blow apart.
expiration
This is
date when
not
you
what's going on
send
here.
the
5,
when you send them
4,
to get killed.
3, 2, 1, play.
It's one heck of an expiration date there, guy.
Yeah.
Back to 10 forward.
We're all depressed because like we've seen a friendship fall apart before our eyes right now.
Frontier Day poster, just a reference to episode 1 and episode 10.
I don't like how they made up a holiday. They could have picked they could have picked what's the Federation Day? Federation well, actually Frontier's Day is a reference to Enterprise, which isn't a bad
Captions.
thing actually. Oh, this is the Herosian reference I meant.
Don't interrupt people when they're trying to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Picard, why are you lying? Oh, because you want to eat. That's why you're lying.
Yeah.
You know,
No, but guys, he has French fries. They're only going to be good for like 5 minutes. Give him a chance.
Yeah.
Oh, is this is probably a reference?
no, this never happened in TNG.
Oh, okay, never mind.
We never had Herosian in TNG.
Herosian are purely Voyager. They were in the Delta Quadrant.
But this helps us understand.
But they talk
that-
about Herosian attacking the Federation in Picard.
Yeah, we're on that right now.
I guess they learned
But
how
we're
to
trying-
go fast.
We're,
They-
we're trying to
they
count
have a-
TNG references, so it never
They have a
happened. in here.
big territory.
No, I mean,
Present day.
you know, people get tired of fame pretty quickly because if you can't walk out the street without a paparazzi taking your image,
Hmm.
Interesting that this episode takes place on Christmas.
Like I just read Jennifer Lopez tweeted a picture of herself, but the photographer is now suing her because you have to pay that photographer royalty because it's not your image.
Huh, what? Say it again?
Like if JLo's being sued because she tweeted a picture that another photographer took, but you have to pay royalties, and she refused apparently when they told her that that's our picture, you owe us
Oh.
money.
That's
So
actually
people,
true. I mean,
yeah, it is. No, it's not. What I'm saying is though, when you're famous, people take pictures of you just so they could sue you for taking pictures of yourself that you
Do you
use.
remember? Do you remember when Dave Chappelle had the Chappelle Show and he did the skit where he was Prince in a blouse,
oh yeah.
playing basketball and making pancakes?
I didn't see
So
that one.
Prince later
Was it-
released a single, and he used that picture of Dave Chappelle in the blouse as the cover of the single. And Dave Chappelle's like, "What are you gonna do?" Like, he got me.
Okay.
He's like, he used a picture of me dressed up like him.
So we're in an asteroid field, inside a gravity well, inside a nebula, inside a jellyfish baby making machine.
This is about to be one gigantic reference back to TNG. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I
The
mean, right now
nursery for the creatures from Encounter at Farpoint.
we're hurtling to our deaths.
Space
though.
jellyfish.
So we have like 5 hours to talk to our long lost son and try to be the father that we never were in life. And interestingly, Riker can lecture him about being a dad because he knows what it is.
Yeah, I don't know if Riker's really a good one to lecture. One kid
let his
dead,
son
and the
get
other is
killed.
now estranged.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's
Plus
a
his
good role
marriage
model
fell
here.
apart.
Maybe we could
I'm-
go talk to Sydney about her dad.
Yeah. But I did like this aspect.
We could talk to Worf
because
about how to be a good dad.
in the
No, you can't.
No,
His
no,
son
no.
became a child
Notice-
soldier.
No,
Notice
no. You
nobody
talk to
goes to
Worf, and
Worf.
whatever advice he gives, you do the opposite.
Yeah, but notice nobody thought of like, hey, let's get Worf in here and talk to him.
Well, I mean, Worf isn't on this ship. I was
Yeah,
joking.
and they can't communicate with him quite explicitly.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting confused.
He'll be on this ship
Worf will
in
show up
another
very
couple
soon.
episodes.
Wait, wasn't
Or this
well,
episode?
okay, I
Next
guess
episode? I don't
he
know.
wasn't on Voyager, but Voyager definitely discovered a planet had an afterlife.
Sorry, who had a life?
And there's an afterlife for an a planet.
Yeah. There was a colony that mummified their dead, and
Lol.
they're
And how that the dead is like, no, we go to our special place with our family. It's like, nope, you go to an asteroid.
yeah.
Yeah.
We know that, well, maybe. It seems that Balana gets an afterlife.
Yeah, the barge of the dead.
Not totally clear if that was real.
I mean, her mom did die at the same time, but yeah.
God, imagine going to Greythor like a scrub.
Yeah.
What's the, I say real life equivalent. What's the, I guess, Nordic equivalent of Greythor? Because Stovacor is Valhalla.
Mm-hmm.
What's the anti-Valhalla?
I don't remember off the top of my head. It's in God of War.
Avernus.
So
No.
in Greek mythology, we have Champs-Élysées and we have Elysium.
Still going with the
Uh,
French.
Sorry,
To
Elysium.
say the shows that they
Elysium.
say is not in fact part of Greek mythology.
Sorry, the French took it
Helheim.
and they turned it into Versailles
Yeah,
Palace
it's,
gardens called Champs Elysees. I'm sorry,
Elysian Fields. Yeah,
Okay, I'm sorry. And then
Oh, that's a
Tartarus.
Voyager reference. That's a Vulcan.
Oh,
Is is it a game? They call it a game.
Calto.
Yeah.
is it
Calto.
Calpso? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's what
Anyway,
passes for
yeah.
a game on Vulcan. Yeah.
Yes.
Look, it's
The
like
Norse
Jenga,
underworld
but
is Helheim.
check
It's
the fact.
lame Jenga.
Lame
It's about
No,
finding
solitaire Jenga.
order.
There's
not
an element of
balance.
chaos because the game makes it more challenging as you pull out the Jenga rod. Okay, also want to say beautiful observation lounge. I'm so happy we get so many good scenes. I mean, I think it's straight out of Discovery, this room, but they did a really nice job of dressing it up. And when you have the TNG crowd sitting around,
Why would they need to dress it up? I can't see anything.
true.
The lights were on earlier, but now they're low on power, so they had to turn the lights off.
Those chairs are upholstered so nicely. That's what I'm saying. I really like about this season. Sometimes you gotta work off the books, just to save the fleet.
I don't remember who it was. There was some villain who they tried to pull that on. It was in Discovery. It's like, no, they're not in Starfleet. They were officially relieved of duty. It's not our fault. And like, dude, come on. She's obviously still in Starfleet. This is obviously sanctioned.
I think that was Michael Burnham herself,
But who was the villain that saw through it?
Yeah.
It was in the future.
Oh, the 29th century. Yeah, so that was when they were trying to defend Earth.
It was with the Swede.
The Jupiter aliens?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they had the dilithium that they stole from Discovery, and they're like, oh, we're on an unauthorized mission with all the deuterium on board.
Sure, bud.
Dilithium on board.
Shaw, why do you have a knife? Savage.
See, I like this guy because he does love people and his ship and his crew. Like, obviously, he hates Simon's guts right now.
Who?
Commander Hansen.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And he hated the Starfleet boys for like.
Did he just dead name her?
Yeah, he does.
He does that all the time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I don't much like it as a plot line.
I mean,
I think it's the way they did it.
I think you know what. Sometimes people don't know how insensitive they're being.
Liam totally knows.
Yeah.
No, I mean I'm thinking about myself too. Like I would be incorrect about that kind of stuff, and until like you think of it in a situation, how hurtful it would be to someone who you might like or love.
It turns out the rules are very simple. If someone says their name is something, then that's what their name is.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's real easy. Barely an inconvenience.
No. I was going to finish it.
Well, too late.
But I'm just saying, it teaches people who may not be able to put themselves in someone else's shoes.
You've got the power for a holodeck?
Yeah, they're about to explain that away in a way that I really wish they didn't.
Yeah.
Look, I think TNG was running on a similar premise multiple times.
I think they've said it before. It's very convenient.
All
Yeah.
we've said before is that it's on a separate power system. But the fact that they're bringing in like, no, it specifically has its own like generator that we're not allowed to use to power the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Oh,
Clearly,
what's
this
the-
is
it's
more
like-
important than like the warp drive in an emergency.
yeah, that's so we could have a party on the way
Yeah,
down.
that's a terrible explanation.
Yeah. Voyager 2 explicitly had to not use the holodecks when they were low on power.
I think but that was the explanation,
Well,
right? It was a separate grid, so they couldn't use that power.
It doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's like one's on
Yeah.
110 volt, the other's on
Yeah.
220 volts. So that's why they didn't.
And they couldn't possibly, yeah.
It would just take
Like, the
too
movie
long to
reminds
find a
they're quite
converter.
happy to plug anything into anything else and like put a box in the middle of it. Yeah.
No, okay, but in my headcanon though, there's like a holographic fusion reactor that they build first thing, and you need to put real power to make the fusion go, but after that you can use the fake power to keep the fusion going.
So
So
it's infinite
Doesn't make-
energy.
yeah, but only
It's
in the
perpetual motion
holographic
machine.
only in the holographic fusion reactor, because and that's why like see, here's the
No,
thing, if
no.
That doesn't make any sense.
if you eat holographic food all day, you're gonna die. So that's why I
But
like don't
they
have.
could still like have a holographic like, waterfall powering a water wheel that would then like
Listen,
extract
hold on.
energy from the holodeck. Like you could
Hang on,
definitely use that
hang on
power.
a second. Hang on a second. Wesley fell into the water in the holodeck.
Yeah, and they threw a snowball and it hit. Picard.
It could definitely create real matter.
Yeah.
In the episode where we
so
specifically
you
said
can have
that it can't
real
bring
food
real matter
on
out
the
of the
holodeck.
holodeck in the Moriarty episode,
Yeah.
Data uses real matter created by the holodeck to prove that it can't create real matter.
Yeah.
What episode is that, Ryan?
The first Moriarty episode.
Okay. Yeah.
Moriarty draws a picture of the Enterprise, and Data brings it out of the holodeck
Oh, okay, all right.
to go and show the captain.
Funny.
Oh, Madalist 4 is definitely not a
I did forget
TNG
about
reference.
that.
That's just a showrunner reference.
Yeah.
You know, whenever I think about Hollow Matter, though, it's that Cyrus Red Block scene where the gangster like fades into thin air once he takes like 5 steps off 10 seconds later. But even the 10 seconds later makes no sense because you don't have time to say your name as you dissipate.
I feel bad for this guy who got murdered and replaced, because he looks like he's like 35 or 40, and he's still an ensign. Ensign Eli something.
I'm Cyrus
He's-
Red Block.
He's on the Harry Kim career path of perpetual ensign.
Yeah.
Well, he's not anything anymore. What if we just stun everybody on the ship? That would work, right?
Doesn't work.
And then if
You
you
know what
miss,
survives
then
me?
the changeling has the run of the ship to himself.
So
Why
actually
can't-
wasn't lying there. He actually does admire Seven already.
Yeah.
And I hate the fact that he only gets that. He doesn't actually get an arc in the whole show. Like we
Right.
only get to find out that he actually, to begin with, had respect for Seven.
After his,
Odo,
after his-
Constable. Oh wow, that's a season 1 Constable Odo. Why would they use that picture? He looks so weird.
And that's a season 1 bucket too.
Yeah, this should not have been made canon. That doesn't make sense. Odo had a bucket
Yeah.
because it was Odo.
Oh, you know what does make sense? Because I remember, like, I never had an indoor cat before, and when I found my kitten 4 weeks old, I was told just have a litter box out and she'll know what it is. And
So
sure
Odo's
enough,
bucket is a
you don't-
litter box.
You don't have to teach a cat what a litter box is. They just go ahead and use it. So
No,
at
they
some
just they know what they like to use, and then
Yeah.
and it,
Mm.
They like something they can dig in and bury it, and if you give them
Yeah.
something they can dig in and bury it, they'll use it.
so
Yeah.
Odo likes a little bucket for the goo, for the gelatinous goo. So I think
I'm sorry, cat owners, but I think it's gross that cats dig and bury their poop and then they walk on all your surfaces, like the kitchen counters and stuff.
Yeah, I can
Fair.
tell you with confidence that dogs' feet are not much better.
Yeah.
Also,
not
bois.
much.
They
But
don't walk on the
generally,
kitchen.
generally
They don't walk on the countertop
the
though.
counter,
Yeah.
yeah, they generally don't jump onto the countertops.
But they walk on like
Okay.
my bed and my pillow
Well, the cats do clean
and
themselves,
me.
And dogs
but
do
not
lick themselves,
necessarily
and
between
dog
the
owners
time that
kiss
they.
them on the lips, and they think it's okay. But okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Cats don't
dogs walking
necessarily
on
clean themselves in
surfaces,
between having used the litter box and walking the countertop.
my
I
dog
like to point
just
out
walked
that
on my
I
bed. and this-
never made the argument that dogs are better. I just said that it was gross that cats dig in their poop and then climb on your
Hello, Vic.
countertops.
How are you?
All right, keep making out with your dog, Robo.
I don't have a dog.
Oh, okay.
I occasionally borrow a dog or
Yuck.
two.
Yuck.
Is this voice the Borg Queen?
Yes.
Yeah, seemingly.
Also,
Why isn't it Girardi?
Because
like
Girardi is a faction of the Borg.
She's a different board queen.
by the way,
Yeah, they're
like this-
multiple.
Girardi creates a splinter group of the Borg, but the real Borg are still hiding out there somewhere. I really like this future communication system. I would have never guessed that this bad guy was the Borg.
I don't know if I want my phone to smell that bad. That looks gross.
Oh, I was thinking, you know how we figure out who's a changeling? Just put their hand in a freezer, and whoever turns into an icicle is the changeling.
I don't think that's how it
Bruh,
works.
again.
Wow.
More evil twirling.
Do you
She loves
think
that chair.
a being that can actually emulate a stone or metal or any living thing would actually freeze in cold temperature?
In fact, we have specific proof that they don't because Odo has an episode where he becomes the ice.
True.
And then Jeffrey Combs freezes to death.
TNG reference. There we go.
Wait, what did he say? I missed it. I was talking about
Temerian.
Jeffrey.
He's talking about Temerian.
Ah.
Talking
Oh,
about
that's Mars.
yeah. He's caught. He's recounting
Sokat,
karma.
his eyes open.
Yeah.
Zinda. His face black, his eyes red.
Tumba, his arms wide.
Oh, that's a TNG reference. Original Jack Crusher's death.
Yep.
I don't believe in no-win scenarios.
So I gotta tell you, I did make it a point in my class. I would always look up what a professor did or where they graduated from, or what their degree was in, and then I should be able to trot out the line. Hey, didn't you get a degree in psychology?
Do they need to keep saying present day? I think at this point, if someone hasn't figured out that
I
this
mean,
is present day.
because
I
we're
don't know, I feel
using
like
the
this
10 forward
particular
in the
scene would
holodeck.
be confusing because he was just talking to a bunch of ensigns in this bar, and now there's
Yeah.
a bunch of ensigns
Oh, that's fair.
in this bar.
Okay. Yes. Okay, that's fair.
Also, we're about to get the big reveal that Jean-Luc not only implicitly felt like he never needed a family, he explicitly told people, "I do
Within
not need
earshot of his son.
Well, what? I mean,
Yeah.
we all. Well, Beverly already said he'd said things like that.
Yeah, for sure. No, but see,
But,
that's
like,
the thing, though.
but yes, this still
It might be-
stings.
It
this
might be
bit,
Beverly's
yeah.
impression. We never hear Picard actually say it. But
I'm
yeah,
pretty sure she was quoting him when she was talking in that speech. I don't
Yeah.
remember exactly, but
Yeah.
this certainly did. This certainly.
I mean, he never allowed
Suggests that-
himself to have a partner, so he obviously doesn't want a family. That's the thing, I think I didn't. Pretty much all my grandparents died before I was born, so I never missed having grandparents. per se. I did have a lot of aunts and uncles around, so that kind of fulfills that role. So I don't
Mm.
feel like he's missing his dad.
No, I think he definitely feels the lack of
Like
it.
the way his mom would always try to not make it an issue.
He disintegrated his own
Whoa.
bucket. Now where is he gonna sleep?
At least
Just
his dad can.
shape-shifting around the floor like Odo.
He's even running like Terminator 2.
Why didn't she shoot again?
That because we need him to escape for the episode to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that way the movie can happen. Yeah.
Also, we didn't know he was a change. We didn't know who the changeling was before, so we finally got a glimpse.
Well, it's not like it matters because it's a changeling.
True.
Right.
That
That's
wasn't
sort
much
of their
a
whole
reveal,
deal.
That's why it's weird that she didn't fire again, because like it's your only chance.
I'm
Like
still
she could have fired again
dismayed-
and missed. It's weird that she didn't fire at all.
still a little disgusted how meaty that changeling goo is.
It was
think
gross. Yeah.
I prefer the DS9 gelatinous.
The pretty bad CGI jelly.
Yeah. The
Yeah, I think I
primitive
do. Just
CGI,
'cause I'm not
the
used
Alex
to
Mack
seeing meat.
version
I'm not,
of changelings.
I'm not used to seeing meat pureed like that.
Yeah.
You can make chicken nuggets out of these changelings.
Yeah, you.
Odo nuggets.
Is this the scene where Picard drops an F-bomb, which is
Yeah.
yeah. It does kind of make sense that it's he's trying to bond with his son here, and that's when yeah.
Yeah.
So Lord of the Rings, they were PG-13, right? So that means they are allowed exactly one F-bomb. Where would you put it?
Yeah. In where the movies? Wait,
Yeah.
would-
You
Oh.
fucking fool of a took.
Oh right.
You shall not fucking pass.
Yeah. Let's see what else.
The line was broken. It has
Or-
been fucking. It has fucking been remade.
Yeah. Yeah. The wizard
Oh.
only reminds exactly what he fucking
got the
means to. So
F-bomb.
shut up.
10 effing grueling hours.
Yeah, yeah.
Ryan, you have to say it.
What does he
Say
have to
what?
say?
How dare you curse on my Star Trek?
Oh yeah.
I believe in the appropriate context would lead to keep your forked tongue behind your teeth. I have not passed through fire
Oh,
death
yeah.
to many crooked words of the witness
Yeah, there
worm.
we go. That's a good one.
Good one, good one.
Oh, poor
Um,
Liam has to walk with a
shut up.
cane.
My
Fuck out.
brothers!
Oh,
I
gee,
see
no, that's
in
too
the
loud.
hearts of you the very fear. I see in
Okay.
you the very fear that would take the heart of me.
Okay, we don't need to
Did
do
you
that.
old man?
This is a TNG reference.
Sorry, I was
Did your old
busy writing the volume slider for Robo. What
Oh.
was said?
Did your old
Oh,
man
just
I
the
don't know.
just
That's
everything
fine,
here.
fine,
This
fine.
whole scene.
Yeah. This is yeah.
So if you ever want to know why someone's bitter and jaded, they may have like a tragic life story that you don't know about.
Are they a character in a TV show? They have a tragic backstory.
No, well, this is a fiction reference, but in To Kill a Mockingbird, there's a crabby lady who lives on the corner of the street, and Atticus, the wise lawyer, teaches his daughter that she's going through a morphine addiction, but she doesn't want to take like drugs to help her off the drugs. So she just decides to stay crabby.
This isn't a TNG reference. This is a DS9 intro reference. Because we
Yeah,
never actually saw the
true.
Battle of Wolf 359 in TNG.
True. We did see the ship graveyard though. And you know, the way this actor delivers the story is so harrowing, because it would be the lieutenant's job to like pick out people
That makes sense.
and not
It's
like
survivor's guilt.
not the dipshit like lower rank engineers.
The actor is from Chicago as well. So
That
Lieutenant
explains
just
the
totally just
attitude.
picked 10 people at random, right? Just to get it out,
Yeah.
Yeah,
get
that's what
some
I'm
people out of
assuming.
here.
He did. And then also she
I mean,
purposely
that's probably
didn't
what
pick
the command
herself.
manual would have said to do. Like, just pick 10 people.
Yeah, but she didn't pick herself, which, to be frank with you, I think I would have pointed myself just because I'm the highest rank.
No, yeah, that would be Captain
And
goes down with the
everybody
ship.
would tear you to pieces. Everybody would
Yeah.
rip you apart. They'd be like, "Yeah,
It's,
no, sorry,
very,
you're out."
very much against the code. Not
You pick
unofficial
yourself
code, that
and
is.
8 other people so that you, as the ranking officer, have some extra leg room.
Yeah.
But yes, it is very much
Oh, Stargazer, that's DNG.
idea of captain goes down with the ship, or the highest ranking officer goes down with the ship.
By the way, when he says Stargazer, he means the Stargazer A from last season. He doesn't mean the Stargazer from the when Picard was 29 years old.
Oh.
It's interesting that Jack defends Picard there.
Yeah. Also interesting that
I
Picard
mean,
doesn't
what? I
want to
mean,
defend himself.
he's for father. Like,
Yeah, but he's a estranged father.
but still, I mean, you might have felt that was a little harsh.
Hmm.
You know, no, but we never get to see Picard deal with the ramifications of his action that day, and just having someone accuse him
yeah,
is
we
like
don't really.
shocking enough, you know?
Well, no.
Yes, we do.
Cisco,
Cisco,
confronts
Cisco
him.
does it
Yeah, Cisco
Yeah.
is
in the pilot of Deep Space Nine.
but
Though
Cisco
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
less about Picard confronting it and more Cisco just getting over it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So Cisco is a commander addressing a captain. This is a captain addressing a retired admiral, so he can say fuck off or like also, but the guy clearly has post traumatic. That's why he's
Well, yeah.
always
Yeah,
on
and
edge.
survivorship guilt.
He
Yeah.
seems
Everyone in
alright.
Yeah.
Starfleet has post-traumatic stress disorder.
I mean, look, he's right now for him talking about that experience. His eyes were like bugging out of his head because
He looks at his eyes.
you know he needs a solid drink.
So it's a nova. That's sort of just how stars work.
Yeah.
Beverly, that's a big leap.
Well, the
Some
idea is
fractions
she's
of
a
a leap.
mother, so she would have that experience, which none
So
of us. here would
that's
have.
a big reach, like on the part of the writers.
Yeah, well, says the person who never birthed a child.
I don't think Beverly's given birth to a stellar phenomena either,
Or a jellyfish.
or a jellyfish.
Okay. Okay, but no. Okay, here's the other thing. Aside from her being a member of the female sex, she is a doctor.
Weird way to
so
phrase
she's
that.
She is thinking in terms of female. She's thinking in terms of biological functions, like contraction. She's always
But
remember when she was.
she should have spoken up as soon as she realized how regular the explosions were. Like,
Yeah.
that was good information.
Wait, actually, never mind. Worf delivers Ogawa's baby.
Bob's your uncle
Ogawa.
Frank.
Bob's your
Very
ass
British.
before. I'm fascinated by the fact that Bob's your uncle is a UK phrase, because I know I picked it up when I was a kid. I just don't know where. I had no idea it wasn't an American phrase.
Never heard of it. Jinx.
It's just
I know. I know.
Farpoint,
I
he
now-
said the
I
word
accept this
Farpoint.
fact that it is actually a British saying.
yeah.
But I moved here and I heard it. And I was like, oh, people say it here too. And I'm glad I didn't say that aloud to anyone before I learned of my error. But, like, yeah, or maybe I did actually. Maybe someone did have to tell me. I don't remember.
Do you ever reference Lord Alan Sugar?
Yeah. No.
Oh.
Oh, I except in the sense that like he was saying you're fired first. A lot of our television is less American than we realize.
Mhm.
Um,
Like apparently there was a show that was where you had members of the public, performing pop songs before Pop Idol, but not for as a competition. It sounds very
oh,
wholesome.
that's what it was. I think it was Generations. I was trying to figure out where else do we ride a shockwave. Also, I think in TNG at some
It's
point,
kind of a thing that people often do to get out of
yeah,
his out
the
of, out of
star.
the spot.
I think the star goes Nova, and then they ride the shockwave.
Yeah, I
In
probably 3
TNG,
or
we
4
were
times
trying
it's
to make
happened
a
at least.
whole. We were trying to replace the warp drive with that. With
Yes,
was it
yes, yes.
Soliton
Yeah.
waves?
Yes, yes. Good reference.
Didn't really work out. We never
We'll
heard
be
about it
here
again.
Yeah. But you know how sci-fi always has an analogy for our life. So we're just surfing over here. We're surfing the wave out to the ocean.
Surfing USA.
Uh, there was a Nicolas Cage movie about surfing recently. Actually, pretty
He's
good. I actually like that movie.
he's still
The
acting.
Surfer.
He's still going.
Yeah, he's still going. Very Nicolas Cage in this movie. It is very much a Nicolas Cage movie.
God, I haven't seen anything Nicolas
Uh,
Cage since he stole the Declaration of
yeah.
Independence.
Yeah, he is doing a
He's
new
been
movie
some,
though.
it was like Mandy was good. Wasn't wait was I don't remember, was that adaptation before or after that?
I went to his IMDb. I'm just scrolling through everything. Is rated like 3 to 5 out of 10.
Well, that's a separate
Nick,
thing.
no.
But
Although he has had to do a lot of bad movies because he's had no money and yeah, has been
yeah.
desperate. But Pig,
Well,
Pig was recent.
but if you didn't know,
Mandy was good, but in a B movie kind of way.
Oh,
Nicolas
he's in
Cage
Dead by
Uh,
Daylight as Nicolas Cage.
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, of course, as Nicolas Cage. I didn't realize he did another.
Nicolas Cage's uncle is Francis Ford Coppola, but
Yeah,
it's one of the few examples in Hollywood where like somebody's talented enough to succeed on their own. They just happen to be the result of nepotism.
Is he?
Well,
Is
no,
he?
he's actually talented.
I think he
He's
changed
no,
his
he is
name. He
actually
changed his
good.
name.
I think he is actually good.
Changed his name so
He's
people
extremely
wouldn't
talented.
know. And let's see.
Also, his style of acting is very unique that like other actors don't go for. So that in itself,
Is
he
not
does.
not going for realism. Yeah,
Yeah, so he actually does bring a lot to the industry. I
no,
feel like he would have made a good Shaw.
no, he's good. Like adaptation's
Sort of
great.
Shatner-like, not going for
So-
believability.
Yeah, no,
so
actually,
he changed
yeah.
his name. He changed his name so that people wouldn't think it was nepotism. But yeah,
Yeah.
his father was August
He prob-
Coppola, Francis
probably
Ford
still
Coppola's brother.
did have advantages. Yeah,
Sure, absolutely, 100%.
Picard
Of
just
course,
swore on
Francis
my
Ford
Star Trek.
Coppola. Recently, his Megaflopolis
boy, that movie was bad.
has probably
So bad.
diminished some of his star power.
I don't know. Oh well. I don't think that's true.
Did
any
you
true
see
of him,
it?
that he just hadn't. No, I know. I think he was probably also already kind of not a current force.
Yeah. He's a
But
B-list.
it certainly didn't help. Oh boy, was that! It's weird to see a movie that's that bad, clearly made by someone who is good.
Yeah.
Like it's so well shot that it's like, how can it be this bad?
It's
but
It is horrible.
it is a unique, interesting piece on its own.
It really
Picard-
is. They
Picard
made
uses
Giancarlo
an,
Esposito look
Wait,
like a wimp.
stop. Wait. Oh, never mind. Okay, thank God. I was worrying that by torch he meant flashlight, but he's from Chicago. He shouldn't be saying that.
Right.
But no, he did mean
Oh,
like
actually
an
meant, like,
acetylene torch. It's all fine.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Picard just
I
said
never-
something to Shaw. He says we need an
But
old
Alice
grease
is
monkey.
American as well, so I don't think he would use.
Yeah, I
torch
was
that
gonna
way.
ask if the writer was British, but no, it's
Yeah,
all good.
it's true. Torch is a British term because we say it in my family, but India was a British colony, so it
Soma,
makes
is
sense
it the
why.
same
Yeah.
word for a
I
torch that's like a stick with tar and wrappings on the end? Is
Yes.
that the
it
same?
is.
Yeah,
Yes.
Well,
where
that's
it
just
comes from.
confusing.
That's where it comes from.
I'm fascinated, but I want to know. There must at some point have been a retronym for that kind of torch. There isn't anymore. Someone must have had. There must have been some way to say like acoustic torch or whatever, right? Like
No, because
not
the verb
literally, but
torch means to set on fire. So,
no, right. But like, so there are old felt torches, but then there became electric torches. But at some point, like when electric torches were new, you would have needed to refer to specifically not an electric torch in a way that you don't really have to anymore because like if like no one uses the old kind really.
the acetylene torch, though, people use acetylene torches as well. But you mean
Yeah, but that's
the tar and
yeah,
the
that's
pitchfork?
not like a much more specific kind of application where it's just for light, the kind of torch that no one uses anymore at all.
Yeah.
Because what is this? The 1300s? We've moved
Yeah,
on.
I guess I called
No,
it an
but
oil torch or something, but like that
you know,
retronym, whatever retronym was there
Oh, I
is
guess
no
this counts
longer.
as a reference. They're just straight up playing the TNG theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a reference for sure.
well, we got Captain Shaw on our side, even though
I really like
he
it
had a
when
really
officers get to use like their actual specializations.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Poor Chakotay doesn't get to.
No, I mean he does some cultural anthropology over there in Delta Quadrant a little bit.
Maybe he should do some cultural anthropology for himself and figure out what tribe he belongs to.
You mean the non-existent one because it's
The one that was
all
inspired by
British?
aliens.
How that I still don't work on shows and things after being debunked.
I mean, in some sense, like his service was never actually to provide authenticity to this. His service was just to like decide some things for them, so they didn't have to be creative
Hmm.
and they could say it was authentic.
Oh, hey, fiber optic.
Like he still provides that feat that even if even if they know he's lying. I found it kind of funny how many dangerous situations they were putting Shaw in. Like it definitely more than once felt like because we
Oh,
know
that's
how the show
totally a
goes. We know he's gonna
shapeshifter.
die. But then, of course, no, he has to last until the last episode so that he can have this. Yeah, so they can play their painfully obvious
I
cliche
like
to the
that
letter.
Liam immediately recognizes that that's not Sydney.
Yeah, I mean he's the one who gave the express order, right? Like, do not send anyone, because they're trying to lure the changeling here. And here's we get a lesson in gender pronouns or preferred names and titles.
Hmm.
Oh, that's right.
Bye.
That's what you get for using the wrong pronoun.
Yeah, that's why you
Wrong
don't dead
name.
name people.
Yeah.
Shame on you, asshole captain.
Yeah, Liam.
Do you know what respect is? It's a good time to learn.
More fiber optic. Wait, that's the same cable. They just played the same. All right, whatever. Oh, that sound
Recent-
effect of the sensors, that was from TNG. That's the same sound
Very
effect.
TNG.
Those bleeps and bloops are TNG.
Yes. Although a lot of them were reused on Voyager as well. Oh, this is another idea. The officer's using his specialty. Picard is a genius pilot. And I think it was a Star Trek Game Boy game. It must have been for DOS, but I think Final Unity might have had it. But the Enterprise D goes into
Wait, was
orbit.
it Game Boy or DOS? Anyway,
They were
sorry.
porting these games at some point.
The DOS boy.
Yeah, so in the Game Boy
DOS boy.
TNG,
It was German
you had
movie.
to take the Enterprise D through those squares, and that's how like you got the ship into orbit for every planet that you wanted to. And if you failed,
Oh, I
you had
remember. I think I know what you're talking about. There was a DOS game.
Yeah.
DOS Star Trek game.
It was pretty fun.
Das
I think-
Spiel, der Spiel, actually, but whatever.
But yeah, that's what Picard was known for, because you would have to do Picard do the piloting, I think.
Yeah.
I think
Why are
the
you saying
Game Boy
that so
games-
dramatically? You've got hours of air and heat on this ship. You're fine.
Yeah, it's true. Days of heat, probably.
Oh, we rode the Shockwave
in the
already?
real world.
No.
Not yet. We're just getting in
Are
position.
they doing the blue alert?
Okay. You know, the jellyfish scene actually reminds me of Finding Nemo, because that's my favorite scene, I think, for Finding Nemo, when they're in the jellyfish forest. The only thing is, though, we're fish in Finding Nemo, so we might get stung by the
A reasonable use of low light conditions, actually.
yeah.
You can still see everyone's face that matters. You can
Yeah.
still understand what's going on, and it's pulsing and it's using it for dramatic tension.
Yeah.
Oh,
if you
that's the Star Wars time bomb.
But if you didn't know where jellyfish babies come from, now you know.
To be honest, I don't know where baby jellyfish come from. Are they from eggs? How did jellyfish reproduce? There's basically nothing there. They're just gel.
Yeah, they're protoplasm.
Dramatic cells entropy. Okay.
What the hell does that mean?
That's,
It's
yeah, that doesn't mean
science
anything.
words. That's definitely a point where they just put science in brackets in the script. Ram them. Keep going.
It's a very unique way to charge the ship. Well, see, they don't know about riding soliton waves, and we do.
The asteroid.
You give her a taste of her own medicine.
That is the same tractor sound effect from TNG.
Prick us, do we not bleed? Tickle us, do we not laugh? Wrong us, shall we not revenge?
Okay, no, that should definitely destroy the ship. That's a lot of mass.
I
Yeah.
think that ship is so much more huge though than the.
Not than the asteroid. It wasn't. The asteroid was definitely bigger.
It's bigger than
Yeah.
the Titan though. How come we never did that before?
Okay, now stop running and launch more asteroids at them. No, don't go to warp. Kill them.
Yeah, would have solved some issues.
So that ship that Vatic is on, that's Rios' ship. The La
No.
Serena.
No, that is not correct.
No, that's
Rafi
Detroit.
has the La
The
Serena.
set. Oh, okay. I'm saying I feel like they redressed the La
Here we
Serena
are,
set.
jellyfish.
Gross. It just spewed out like a million jellyfish at once.
So, encounter a far point reference. Ding, ding, ding.
Yep.
Ding, ding, ding.
These jellyfish
didn't like
look
the show-
much more detailed than they did in Farpoint.
Yeah. But if you didn't like the show before, you're gonna like it now because we got the far point reference.
I'm telling you, this
Wait,
whole season
who-
is just nostalgia baits.
Yeah.
It is. It gets especially bad in the last 3 episodes, of course. Or it's just like it just felt silly.
This is
bringing
your
back the
warning,
beat
though.
to me.
This is your warning. If you don't like taking shots of nostalgia,
I mean,
don't mind
there
the
were
bringing
other
back
things
of
that
the
happened in this season. Like it's not
look,
each episode.
It's not
does have
new
a lot of
life,
nostalgia bait
Beverly.
in
We
it,
already
but-
met this species.
look. I bet you didn't know you needed baby jellyfish in your life, but you did. Okay.
I did
Well, I
really
still
like
don't
this
know
end of
that.
the episode. I did really like the end.
I love this, guys. Come on. Our heroes suffered a death inside a nebula. They were defeated by a stronger, smarter enemy, and they only got out because of Farpoint.
Jellyfish.
I mean,
Come on. I
Was
love
that a
it.
no,
Vulcan
that's
hugging that
actually
guy?
not a satisfying ending. Actually,
I disagree.
There was a Vulcan
like
on the bridge. Yes.
Farpoint, I like having the Deus
But-
Ex. That's not a Deus Ex Machina, but like I don't know, having the
Deus
thing
Ex
to
Jelly.
take advantage to get us out of him be just some random thing from next
First of all,
gen for
Farpoint itself
the
was
bad half of
strange.
that episode.
Yeah, Farpoint itself was a strange amalgam of two different plot lines. So
Yeah, and the jellyfish were from the bad one.
Here's the I don't want a son.
The Q, it was a good Q episode,
no,
and
the Q line was the bad plot line.
If I ever
The
had a
Farpoint-
son, I hope they would have
What?
better manners than you
That is-
interrupting me at dinner.
like no, the Crystal and Entity plot was like a nothing burger. Like introducing Q, having them on trial, and like no, that's like that was the part that they actually decided to build on for future episodes.
See, so
He was the only
I agree.
savior of that episode.
Yeah,
If you look
I mean,
very
look,
closely,
yeah.
you can see the exact moment that his heart broke.
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
And Picard is realizing what he saw. I mean, fairness to Picard, he had no idea.
no, he didn't. But you would feel bad about
Yeah.
that moment if you look back on it,
Yeah, that's a yikes
A
for
little.
sure.
like knowing that you'd said
A little,
that
a
to
little.
someone.
Oh, hey, Deanna.
Probably filmed from. I don't know whether they filmed this in the time that she had in America or if they did this from the UK. I think they probably did some of these from the UK.
I mean, they could have just.
That's
thrown a
why she's
camera
on
over
Zoom in the show for now.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. To give her
But
more
that's
time
funny.
on the
She
show.
was convinced she was never going to work on Star Trek again before the season. I don't know she said
I
said
mean-
as much at a conference, having just kind of gone off on Paramount. It was like I don't care. I
With
can
the
say what
kind
I
of
want. They're
roles
not
they
going to hire
gave
me again.
her. Remember in Nemesis, she was like telepathically raped. I'd kind of hang up my coat too on it.
I mean, there was a lot of things we didn't like about.
We can just
Yeah.
pretend that
Yeah,
part
so
of
that's what I'm
Nemesis
saying.
didn't happen.
So what I'm saying is that from the first episode when she had to wear a uniform that no one else had to wear, to the last
Yeah.
movie where
I think it was really just her lines were usually bad. Like I think
Yeah.
that was really what
Yeah.
her major complaint.
and so
Is
I mean,
this
the
even
ball- on the
Deanna or
other
is
hand-
this a shapeshifter? Because I know she gets replaced later.
no, I think Riker gets replaced later, not Deanna.
Deanna gets captured, at least.
Yeah. They both get
Yeah.
captured. But if Deanna was on the ship now, she'd be like, "Oh, I sense jellyfish at the bottom of that well." which we didn't need. We didn't need her to figure it out. We needed Crusher to figure it out.
Captain, I sense hostility from Vatic.
Although I gotta say, in the next episode, I'm so
Yeah,
mad at Deanna for like turning over Jack to the authorities. Like, you know,
Jack,
she goes
maybe you should-
therapist on him.
Oh, I remember. Okay, yeah. I was thinking when I first watched this, like, Jack, maybe you should talk to someone about this. And then, no, he does. It's all good.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, directed by Jonathan.
Yep.
Yep.
He directs a lot of Star Trek these days.
He's been doing it since.
Good
First
for you,
Contact.
Johnny.
I think he's
All
a
right.
really good director, actually.
He is.
And anyone who watches him as a
Alright,
director
so
speaks highly of him as such.
what are the next episodes? What's going on? What happens? Let me open
Those
up
three
my
for today?
Picard folder. That's it for today.
Okay.
So next is Imposters with Ro Laren.
Yes, that's a good one.
Yeah, Michelle Forbes.
Then
Briefly, but of course they can't. Yeah.
do you not like Michelle?
Oh, she's great. I just hate the fact that they like decided there's only one thing that can possibly happen to old characters when they show up on this show.
I felt it
Yeah.
was pretty decisive when she left Starfleet last time.
Yeah.
That was definitely treason.
Oh yeah, no. I just
So
need
why-
to kill her off.
Why is she a captain
Like
now?
that-
What happened?
And an intelligence,
Yeah.
by the way.
She's a captain by being off screen for 20 years. Don't worry about it.
It is explained elsewhere.
So after that, the next episode is The Bounty, where we're going to find Moriarty and Geordi. And then Dominion, where I assume we're going to get a lot of backstory about Vatic.
Pop
Yeah,
goes
yes,
the
a lot of that
weasel.
or something.
Because, Dominion. Really, the Dominion should just go through the wormhole again and just conquer the Federation for realsies. They only lost because of literal Deus Ex Machina. If the actual Dominion fleet was in the Alpha Quadrant, everyone else was screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just try again, Dominion. Come on.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Chad.
Yep, we're done, everyone.
Oh yeah,
Be
we've got data lore in that episode. And a lot of Vadik on the ship.
Which wouldn't be a problem if we threw a second asteroid at them.